Lighting of the lamp. Thank you.
Sort of communication with headquarters, which is otherwise very formal. It's through a communication, through proper channel, through the HOD, and perhaps, puts us all at a solution, not always with a solution that appeals to you, but with a clear heart and a desire to make things better for each one of us. And what we do want is, while that presentation and those issues will come up and we will give our solutions, please do interact. Please do ask us whatever you would like to, and to the best of our ability, we will respond. And all solutions may not happen now. They may happen with a time lag, because everything in government and bureaucracy definitely warrants in-depth examination. So we will do those things, but we are listening and we're carrying back whatever you are expressing to us. So with that, I don't think I want to cut short the time we spend in our interaction. Thank you very much for being here.
I now request ADA sir to give the opening remarks.
Respected DA ma'am, Smita Gopal, AG A&D, Santosh, PD Commercial Audit, Deepna, Principal Director RTC, Prachi, PD staff, Nilesh, ACN, and my dear friends. Good morning to all of you. I'm extremely happy to be here when we start our second day of the Town Hall meeting. As you know, the CAG organization is a knowledge-based organization, and the human resources, the employees of the CAG organization, and the knowledge and skill which each of you carry is our biggest asset. So we are extremely committed to the well-being of each one of you. This town hall has been conceptualized so that we think that this is an opportunity for us to listen to you and see what best we can do to further improve your well-being. When we had a senior management retreat at Udaipur early this year, there is a consensus that the administration should be responsive. So this initiative is, once again, we are moving towards being a proactively responsive administration, so that we can reach directly and interact with all of you. Because as the DMM very well explained, I think our interaction is not directly, it comes through a particular channel, a formal channel. In addition to being a responsive administration, we are also committed to being an administration that would be benevolent and firm. When I say benevolent, we want to do what is the best for the betterment of the well-being of each one of you. And firm in terms of being decisive in taking decision, which means we will not vacillate, we will take very quick and firm decision. And at the same time, we also want to take stringent action whenever there is any errant behavior. That is what we mean by a firm administration. With these objectives, with these 3 objectives in mind, we are devising a comprehensive framework for assessing the performance of administrative performance of each and every office, which means this will be a framework with multiple parameters to assess how an office is working on administrative issues. The issues range from timely settlement of employee emoluments and claims, welfare measures like recreation hall, library, efficient financial management. So it's a very comprehensive framework. We feel that once this framework is in place, it would provide an opportunity for each HOD also to do a self-assessment and see where they are and what are the areas in which they can further improve their performance. At the headquarters, it will also provide us an opportunity to see what are the areas in which we need to focus, where do we need to put in more money and efforts so that the administration can be improved further. Because we feel an improved administration will finally result in better employee well-being and satisfaction. So, in addition to this town hall which we are having with all of you, yesterday we had discussions with the administration, and today we'll be also discussing with the associations, because once again we feel that we need to listen to other stakeholders also. This town hall is very important to us because the success of this town hall which we get would really help us in guiding a future course of action. As ma'am said, this is the first town hall, and yesterday there was lively discussion and interaction. Was very satisfaction. We are all very satisfied. So we are extremely confident that today we'll have a repeat of yesterday's performance with lively interaction from all of you. Thank you so much.
I now request Yasin sir to give the presentation by staffing.
Respected Dias and all my colleagues here, very good morning to all. This will be a short presentation of around 10 slides in which we will be actually the first point is already covered in the introductory remarks of respected DI ma'am and ADI sir, so I'll not go into that. And in this presentation we will be actually seeing the recent initiatives taken by the staffing in last 1 or 2 years for the betterment of the staff and our field offices, as well as future plans which we are going to look into, or which we are going to implement in next 6 months or 1 year, or maybe next 4 or 5 years. We will talk about the short term as well as the long term plans of the staffing. This has already been discussed in first 10 minutes, so I will not again repeat it. The recent initiatives, leveraging IT for increased transparency. Staffing, overall all the headquarter wings are trying to leverage the IT for improving the efficiency. In the staffing also we have introduced the, you already know that IBMs had been introduced, that is Integrated Budget Expenditure Monitoring System. It is linked with the PFMS. This is specially for the I&AD, so it is linked with the PFMS, and because of IBMs, those who are working in the administration from last 10-15 years must have seen the budget part somewhere down the line over the period. They already know that this IBMs has helped a lot. And my AO sitting, senior AO sitting here from the headquarters will definitely tell you, we used to process big files every day for processing of budget. Now because of IBMs, it has smoothened up. And let me tell you again one thing, in IBMs, whenever the proposal comes, generally at the headquarters level, it doesn't stop beyond 4 or 5 working days. So I have seen that most of the proposals get clearance within 2 or 3 working days. But even if there are some queries, or even if there are some doubts from the side of headquarters, FMD wing, we generally send it back to the field within a week. So that is generally our target, and we do that. And this iBeams is helping us a lot to keep the track of everything. So we can monitor the real-time expenditure. Performance appraisal, implementation of Sparrow. As you all know that for senior AOs, Sparrow has already been implemented, and we are in a position to monitor APRs of all the senior AOs in a real-time basis. So still there is lack of awareness about filling up the APRs, about reporting the APRs in case of senior AOs, because the system is very new. So even for the year 2021 or 21-22, there are some APRs which are still pending, which we take follow-up, we ask to the person to fill it, we ask to the person to forward it with whomever's inbox it is pending. We generally get back to that person and ask. But this initiative has helped us a lot to keep the track of the APRs. You already must have noticed that in the past, tracking the APR where it is pending right now was a big problem for the APR cells in the AG offices. Now, because of this online system, it will help a lot. It is already helping a lot. Allocation of states for direct recruit candidates. It is also being done online. There is a portal developed by NIC in which the present recruitments through SSC, the new recruits through SSC, they fill their choices of states basically. So presently, in the last month itself, 500 dossiers of AOs were received in the headquarters, and the last month we were doing this process of filling up the choices. So the portal was open for the candidates who passed the SSC, and those candidates are filling their choices of all the states as per their rank. So we will allocate it as per the system, online system, considering the rank of the candidate, the vacancy position in the state, and their choice. So these three criteria will be considered before doing it. So there will be a lot of transparency, as well as there will be less headache for us to work it out manually. So we have already done that. Then improved emoluments. NFU to supervisors, these things you already know. Briefcase allowance to level 6 onwards. This briefcase allowance was previously was some offices used to give it, some offices did not used to give the briefcase allowance, but now it has been done for all the people who are level 6 and above. So additional MSEP benefit by ignoring promotion from AO to senior AO, that is also everybody is aware here. Then favorable terms, initiative to expedite and extend compassionate appointments. As you all know that in the month of in the month of April, we have issued the guidelines regarding the compassionate appointment. What used to happen in the past is the people who need employment under compassionate scheme, they used to apply to their offices basically, and the vacancy position, if vacancy is not there, the applications of these people used to wait there in the office. If the office, if the employee, the family was willing to serve in any other sister offices, our offices used to forward the applications or forward the DSC minutes to the sister offices, and sister offices used to consider them if they will to, because if there the vacancy is there and applications are not pending, they used to consider, otherwise there was no action taken on those applications. So what we have done this time, we will be getting the reports from all the field offices about the number of applications pending and number of vacancies available to fill up those applications, and we try to fill in those applications with in those vacancies if the family is willing to serve in those states. So all over India they can be considered. Of course, the willingness of the family is necessary and the vacancy is necessary, and of course the screening committee should consider that candidate fit for the appointment under the compassionate scheme. So this is also a new initiative, and from July onwards now this will be streamlining. So we will be getting the information from the field offices, and we will be processing that information to fill in the vacancies and give relief to the people who needed compassionate appointment. Then deputation on spouse ground policy, this policy was always being, is always been there, but we are time and again from the staffing side we are stressing it. We are trying to help people through our own circulars and through our own instructions. We are trying to help people to get deputation on spouse ground wherever possible. Of course, it's the matter of administrative requirement. If administrative, I will say decision whether to relieve a person on deputation or not, because there are some offices who are severely understaffed. So of course, as DMM was always telling yesterday also, we have to strike a balance between a personal goal and organizational goal. So it cannot be a one-way affair. So we always try to do that in the staffing also. So personal goals and organizational goals should meet at a point where both are met with a satisfaction, with a certain level of satisfaction. So that's what we try here also. Revised transfer guidelines for DA cadre to make more employee friendly by decreasing incumbency period. Incumbency period was 12 years before, now it has been brought down to 10 years as per the demands of the DAs to give them some relief. Then extending benefits to senior cadre on classification as Group A. We have already introduced this annual medical checkup for the senior AOs. Then to mitigate the delay in promotion to senior cadre, interim relief provided through entrustment of charge to eligible AOs as well as the field officers. See, promotion to senior AOs is close to heart of many people sitting here, I know that, and there are so many things going on, so many intricacies are there which cannot be explained here in a short span of time. But let me assure you that we are doing everything. We are on our toes, we are following it up regularly. These issues will also come in the discussion further in the open session also. That time also PD ma'am will and ADI sir will also explain this further. Ad hoc promotion in scenario, this has already been done. Wherever the DPC is convened by UPSC, ad hoc promotions to scenarios are given. Wherever the DPC is pending or the UPSC has not accepted yet the proposal yet, there the ad hoc promotions are pending. So in some offices you may find that scenarios are promoted, ad hoc promotions are already done. Those offices are in which the DPC has already been convened by the UPSC. Process started for DPC proposals of combined panel year in 21-22 in consultation with UPSC to expedite the promotion. So many people here must have been thinking, what is so big, what is the difficulty in having the DPC in UPSC, right? So let me tell you, UPSC is not used to handling so many DPCs at one go. There are almost more than 70 cadre controlling offices in our department. So as many DPCs, you can understand UPSC is not used to this, and they are also under pressure because of civil services examination. Last 2 months they were busy in conducting interviews of the civil services examination, and that's why they did not give any date for the DPSC despite following it up at various levels. Even at higher management level it has been followed up many times. But of course, they also have their own constraints, and we are following it continuously. So be assured that we are trying to do everything possible here. Then for career progression, all graduate Group C are allowed to appear in the SS and given opportunity to become accountant and auditors. Previously, as you know, that Group D categorization was there, who were not allowed to give the examination, and then after the pay commission it became Group C. All the people have become Group C. So now the CAG office has taken a stand, okay, if you are a graduate, if you are willing to put in your efforts and pass the required examination, your progression will not be hindered only because you are certain category of the employee, right? Like even the graduate canteen staff also can give the exam now. if they are willing to put in the efforts and pass the exam. So, and then we have increased the limit for taking SAS examination. Now the attempts have increased to 10, and of course even after 10 attempts, if an employee can't pass, then again that employee can start afresh and give all the papers again. So practically it's unlimited attempts which you can take for SAS examination. So then increased sanction strength, short-term plan implemented which increased the sanction strength of scenarios. So what we were talking about, there is a long-term plan also, there is a short-term plan also. So we have already increased the sanction strength of scenarios, increasing AA strength by over 500 posts by restoring the 4% post earlier earmarked for supervisor. So you, as you all are aware, that in AA sanction strength previously, in AA sanction strength 4% posts were earmarked for the supervisor cadre. Now after the restructuring of this cadre, supervisor and assistant supervisor cadre, the supervisor cadre has been separated from, has become a separate one, and this 4% post which were there in the AA sanction strength which were considered for the supervisor, now they are exclusively for the AA. So actually it caused the increase of 4% post in has given a relief. If A&E office is there, if GA wing agrees, you can fill up all the vacancies with the retired employees, if retired employees are available to you. Of course, there is a process which is prescribed. So if you follow that process, I'm sure it's 1.5 months process. You can fill up the vacancies in that period of time. So hiring of consultant and CAs and CMAs. This was also being there from long time. CAs and CMAs can be hired. Of course, you cannot send them on field, but you can employ them in your office as a consultant and do for doing the research work. So that relief is also there. Improving transparency in decision making in financial matters. Delegation of financial powers. This DFP was issued on 6th of January 2022, and the headquarters has tried through DFP to streamline the processes, especially which are dealing with the financial proposals. So if you read the DFP, this is an attempt to streamline the process, to get the clarity which approvals are to be done at what level and what procedure is to be followed while proposing any financial thing to the headquarters, any financial proposal to the headquarters, or even at the office level, if it is to be done, the procedure is prescribed in the DFP. Let me tell you that DFP is not separate from GFR 17. It is, the broader framework is always GFR 2017, but DFP is specially for the I&AD. It has been made within the structure of GFR. Then our future plans are there. So review of sanction strength. There are high-level committees working in the headquarters which are headed by ADI level officers for determining optimal sanction strength in I&AD for future. There is one committee who is working, who is expected to give the report within next 5-6 months. So we are working on that. A rationalization of EDP cadre. There is a committee for rationalization of EDP cadres also headed by our respected ADI sir, ADI staff sir, and this is also in a stage of finalization of its report right now. So as you know, all know that EDP cadres were formed in 90s when the VLC was first time introduced in our department, and the computerization had just started in audit and accounts offices. That time EDP cadres were introduced, and as you all know that most of our staff, like almost 100% of our staff now can work on computers. So they have computer knowledge, basic computer knowledge, of course not the very advanced one, but basic computer knowledge is there, and that's why an EDP cadre actually has to be re-looked into for the future. So this committee is looking into that. Rationalization of sanction strength in A&E offices. There is a committee on this also in consultation with the GA wing. This committee will be also submitting its report. Then for appointments, focused and increased recruitment, medium-term recruitment plan for 21 to 25 formulated for Group B and Group C staff. So this medium-term recruitment plan has already been approved by the Honorable CAG, and the final objective of this plan is to reduce the vacancy position in Group B and Group C staff in the field offices below 5% by the year 26-27. Right? So that is the target. So we have considered the factors which are due to which the vacancy position is arising, like factors like attrition and all has already been taken into consideration. The trend analysis has been done, and we are planning to bring down the vacancy below 5% by year 26-27. So this plan has been approved by CAG. Formulation of policy in MTS recruitment. So we are trying to formulate one policy for the recruitment of MTS. As we know that MTS recruitment is as of now is not happening. We are outsourcing people for the job of MTS, but we are working on the formulation of this policy also. The special recruitment for high deficit offices. Many of you may be already aware that our northeastern offices, the offices which are located in northeast, they have deficiency in case of many position. So almost 70% vacancy is there in most of the northeast offices. So for northeast offices, we have started to communicating with the Staff Selection Commission. We are requesting them to have a special recruitment drive for northeastern states. So let's see how it goes. If it is being successful, then we will try to do it for the rest of the offices also, which are the high deficit, which are considered as high deficit offices where the manpower shortage is severe and it is affecting the administration. So we'll try to do that. So for career progression of senior levels beyond level 11. So this is also area which we are looking into. This will also come in the discussion further in the open session. Then absorption of SS past officials in deficit offices waiting for promotion as regular WO. We know that almost all the field offices has SS past candidates who are waiting for promotion to WO. So in many offices they were being given up to 2020 they were given ad hoc promotions as WO. But now, but ad hoc promotion is a temporary kind of thing which was done. Now we are looking at a more permanent kind of solution, whether these candidates can be absorbed in other sister offices where the vacancy is there, right? So if the candidate is willing to take promotion in other sister offices, whether that opportunity can be given, we are in a process of formulating that policy also. So that is also a future plan. For qualifications and technical proficiency, committee on formulating recruitment and confirmation requirement. This is also a ADI level committee which is working in the headquarters, which is looking into recruitment and confirmation requirement. As we know that the auditee environment is constantly changing. It is being IT based, the language requirements and all those things are always there. So this committee is looking into streamlining the processes. So or the requirements which must be there for the future recruitees. So this committee is looking into that. Introduction of other incentive exams relating to proficiency in information technology like CPD, RE exam. There are exams which give you incentive to acquire new knowledge or new skills. So this is also one of the plan. For information technology proficiency also, employees can be incentivized. The formulation of transfer policy for Rajbhasha cadre, we are working on this also. There are so many problems or grievances of Rajbhasha cadre which were already expressed yesterday also in the town hall meeting. We will be trying to address those. Then framework being finalized for comprehensive assessment of administrative functions of an office. As ADI sir had already explained on this, we will be trying to formulate a framework to assess the administration like KRAs in A&E office. For administration also, we will try to formulate one framework. Review of SAS exam syllabus in pattern of exams. So this thing is also planned for the future. Then facility for self-nomination to training programs to be expanded. Already there is a site training portal which in which you can self-nominate. But for the outside trainings also, that kind of facility will also be there in the site training portal. Then automation of reporting and monitoring of administrative functions. As many of you must be aware that to the staffing itself, the field offices send almost 28 returns every year. Those are quarterly, half yearly, and yearly returns. The monthly returns are also there. So field offices send those 28 returns. So sending these 28 returns, I have heard from many of the times from my colleague DAGs, even my senior AOs, that this return thing is very painful, because every now and then you have to consolidate the data and then send it through email, send it through printout, take all the approvals, and then again headquarters, then again send a reminder you have not sent the report, then you have to again check the email, strengthen MIP in the first week of every month to update the position. So on the similar lines, we are planning to have one online portal to fill in all 28 reports. So you can log in through your office email ID and fill in the information and click the submit button, and that's it. You need not send the email, you need not send the your hard copy, or you need not follow it. Let me tell you ki if 28 returns is a pain for you, I'll picture like there are 13 returns for the estate wing, 28 returns for the staff wing, and there are 140 field offices. So imagine the load on my senior AOs when 28 into 140. So that kind of returns they are getting on their desk every year. So it is very painful for them also. So I would like to request you ki if they are asking you some information, don't be annoyed at them ki why are you.
I would just like to say that already at headquarters 370 posts have been created with the approval of the CNDG for creation in non-INDS Group A cadre to open up the promotional avenues for senior AOs across the department. What we are doing right now is trying to operationalize this scheme so that each office there are adequate number of promotional posts, and we are just formalizing that proposal with the detailed terms and conditions of any such career progression. Would anyone please? Any questions, comments, or clarifications that you want?
Any timeline on that?
I understand your concern on the timeline. See, I think, this question was raised yesterday also on the timeline, and we gave an answer that, we do not believe in giving a timeline and then not sticking to it. It's easy for me to sit here and say maybe I'll do it in 3 months or 6 months, and later on, if it doesn't happen, that would be extremely unfortunate, and it would be frustrating also. As I think the PD staff was trying to explain, there are various ramifications in this. One, just to explain 1 or 2 issues so that you'll understand what are the challenges. One, I think there is a need for a recruitment rule also, because once we have to operate at a higher level 12 and 13, you need a separate recruitment rule. And once again, to put things in perspective, whenever a recruitment rule is framed, it takes about 2 to 3 years for the recruitment rule to get accepted by the DOPT and for it to be notified. So that is the timeline. So that is one issue. What can we do in the interim? We are exploring that. So since a recruitment rule is to be formulated, consultation with the legal wing. And then if it's a non-INDAs, I think, when we have to operate a position at a higher pay scale, then that would be accepted only if we can show higher level of responsibilities, because DOPT is not going to accept a post at level 12 and 13 if we cannot show that it involves higher level of responsibilities. So how do we do that? I think we had a lot of meetings in the last 1 month on this. We are really moving much far, quite a bit on this. So without really giving you a timeline, what we can assure you at this point of time is we are working at our best to see how fast we can operationalize this. That is what I can promise you.
Thank you, sir. I'll move on to the next one. This is regarding removal of the age limit for induction into the INDS. At present, the department has put an age limit of 53 years for induction into the INDS, and also there is an issue of timely promotion being ensured to the eligible scenarios. So we have, this matter is also under consideration at headquarters. Decision has been taken to increase the age limit from 53 to 55 years, but as you know, when the decision was also taken, we would have to modify or amend the recruitment rules, which is again a time-consuming process. In the interim, the scenarios became classified as Group A. So Group A to Group A induction required another modification in the amendment to the INDS rules. So we have now clubbed together all the potential amendments which are there, and these are under discussion with the UPSC and Ministry of Finance. But the in-principle decision to increase the age limit has already been taken. If there is anybody, or can I move on? I know that majority here are, of course, from the A&D office today, but we have from the audit side also. The request in this email was regarding a transfer policy for senior AOs indicating the maximum years of service at headquarters, fieldwork, and also amongst different offices which are under the same cadre control. So the posting of officers and is as per the functional requirements to be decided by the local level field office at the level of the HOD. But we are at headquarters would definitely examine the feasibility of such a proposal while we are framing up any policy in this regard in the future. We would also keep in mind that any policy regarding transfer of scenarios would be in sync with the rotation policy. Ma'am, I'll move on then. This was regarding the submission of the FTA bills. Typically, final TA bills are required to be submitted within 60 days. What the grievance or the request was that after submission of the final TA bills are being passed very late, which varies, the time period varies from 3 months to more than a year. And the request was that the CAG office, headquarters office, should fix a time frame for passing the final TA bills and ensure adherence to that. And again, while this issue is of course under the control, administrative control of the HODs, we will definitely, this is an issue which would cause problems to our employees, and therefore we will consider whether necessary guidelines should be issued in this regard. And we are thankful for bringing it to our attention. Would anyone, any comments from any of the offices? This was an issue which had come up specifically with respect to the A&E offices. This was that the Group C officials, MTS clerks, DOs, accountants, are performing the same workload as the Group B non-gazetted officials, senior accountants, assistant supervisors, and the supervisors. And the request was to reorganize the workload based on these cadres. Of course, the details of the duties and responsibilities of every cadre were circulated as far back as 1998, and then they were reiterated in 2010 through headquarters circulars. The duties of the accountant cadre are based on the functional requirements in that particular place of posting. And as per the office procedure manual of that office, we have of course noted the point, and we would also, we can discuss at headquarters with the GA wing. But the exact issue which is arising here, we would welcome comments from you all who are the accountants or the senior accountants in the Cadre, and we would also request the HOD to offer any comments in this regard.
Madam, regarding this and supervisors and senior accountants, before promotion, what they were doing, the same work is continuing. And even after getting promoted to the supervisor cadre, there are some instances where officials are still doing clerical work. Okay. In this regard, we had raised it. Myself, I joined this department as a data entry operator, and I was allotted the same work which was previously handled by a senior accountant. So this is the issue actually. What is created?
Yeah, I think this is an issue, I think as the PD staff mentioned, which can be handled by the GA wing. We notice your concern. I think this is a point which is really well taken. So even after getting promoted, you continue to do the same job. I can understand it could be frustrating. What we'll do from our side is, we'll take up the issue with the GA wing and see what further can be done so that, there's a different level of functions which are assigned to supervisors, particularly to
as you're saying that, and as ADI staff and PD staff have already clarified, the point is that when you gain a higher level, you expect to do a higher level of work. So that is obviously not being done, and we need to examine it. The whole staffing in A&E offices is being examined afresh. So that will also, we'll ask them to include this aspect of the quality of work also, not just the quantity, but the quality of work. Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. The next issue is related to the audit offices. Minimum number of headquarters days may be assured to all the field personnel, and they would like that to be based objectively on quantification of data which is collected from all the field parties. This is another very important issue which has been formulated, and it is work-centric. But at headquarters also, we do acknowledge that all employees would have personal commitments which require them to be at their home station, and we would request the HODs to consider this issue while preparing the audit plan. And if anybody has from the MAB or from the other audit offices, if they have any issues regarding the formulation of the plan, please do comment on the issue, and in case the HOD also has an issue.
Good morning, everyone. I think in a MAB office, we are definitely making a plan very unbiased manner. We are giving equal days of outside tour to all the parties. So that way how I'm ensuring. And also we are giving a bit of a additional leverage to all the ladies officers who are there, because they have different concerns, different issues. So more or less we are trying to address the issue. Yes, some people who want to stay all the time in Bangalore, that is a bit difficult because they are in the audit office. And we have our offices spread all across. So though we are definitely giving them a bit of a concern and the issue, but 100% is not possible, because you look at the other person also and the other colleagues you have with you. They will say, man, sir, you are being favored to them, or you are bringing about favoritism or something. So that way, we are trying to definitely look at and address both the issues together and in a very well manner. So I think most of the officers are only going maximum 1 or 2 months outside. Bangalore or the state. No, basically, it's mostly Bangalore. So most of the time they are spending the time in Bangalore. So and they are doing their, and we are not actually monitoring also each and every one what time they are coming or what time they are going. So we have given a bit of a leeway there, so that they can address their home concern or issues as long as they are able to carry out their work which is assigned to them. So our main concern on that is just the work. That is the focus I at least as an HOD like to put on it, rather than looking at it and monitoring in each and every time what they are doing. So that is the only concern which I actually have been putting it on the record, that work is the most important thing and rest we can manage it. And we will try and balance their personal and professional issues together. Thank you.
I think that's very well said, that you have to balance the two. You have your personal requirements, your personal concerns, and we respect that and we understand that. At the same time, there is an organizational requirement, so we need to balance the two, and which obviously is being done admirably here. If there are any specifics, then I'm sure the administration will take care of it.
If anyone has a concern, they can please say it.
I'll move on then. This is regarding the working space constraints. In the audit offices, the field parties, the performance audit or the compliance audit parties do return to the office for their desk study, for finalizing the report or for finalizing the ADM. They are being accommodated in corridors without any basic infrastructure like tables and computers. So this was one of the issues which they had raised. Similarly, in the accounts offices, the issues that have been raised are that because of lack of space due to the high level of documents, there are constraints which are being faced, and we would welcome any comments and suggestions regarding the space management in A&D offices specifically, where perhaps CAPCAS sections are being accommodated in the corridors. We would welcome your comments on this just now.
Can you give a mic, please?
Madam, I'm Shaija from AG&A office, WO cell, and our corridors are always filled with vouchers, and there is hardly any space for movement in the office, madam. And our administration wing also has very little space for movement inside the sections, and we hardly have space demarcated for records and ourselves. We are almost always, yeah.
No, I understand that.
Move the records and then make space, and if any outsiders or anybody comes, there is hardly any space for make them sit and
No, I completely understand. I've been in an A&E office, and I know that the least that you want is a clean and clear working environment.
Yes, ma'am.
We understand that. I think these are issues which we will need to address and see what best we can do so that...
Madam, one more point, madam, especially in our GE wing and our pension wing, where all the old records are still kept in the sections. The old records are not being moved as and when they're listed out. And the outsiders keep coming, visitors are there, many visitors are there, where we can't even afford to make them sit, and there are pensioners, very old people visiting the office. There is hardly any space in those sections.
Point extremely well taken, and I'm glad because it's part of the, if we say that as far as our pensioners and state government employees are concerned, that we are a service provider, then a service provider also needs to provide a decent environment. So definitely, I think this is an area we need to perhaps, do you have a grievance cell where they can just come centrally?
Yes, ma'am. I think that's there at the reception and the GPF pension.
And is that linked electronically to the sections, to a network or something?
I think my colleague can answer this.
Ma'am, Madam, 80% of our vouchers are this salary vouchers. And the government in March 22, they have issued an order saying that henceforth, that is from April, they'll be sending only the e-vouchers. About the, as she was telling that that's huge. There is a constraint since government has issued our narrator and we have written a letter to saying that for 3 months on testing basis we'll receive both e-vouchers as well as hard copies. Probably from July 1st onwards we'll be receiving less number of vouchers and we'll have more space now.
Yeah, but we also need to tackle what's already there and is being kept. So I think
No, that will go to
old record. That's what I think your concern is, that it's
Vouchers.
so absolutely. I think and there is a project, one of the bigger projects that A&E offices had undertaken, which was of digitizing all records. So just monitor the progress of that so that that is expedited. And therefore, as much as possible, those old records, even if they have to be retained, they don't have to be retained on the same premises. I think whatever best and out-of-the-box thinking that we can do to make the work environment better and definitely cleaner, because you have so much paper lying around, you're bound to have a lot of dust, which is not the healthiest.
Here, I am senior.
Pension group. Old records for the past 3 years it has not been lifted, and what is happening is when pensioners send their papers for revision of pensions, so you cannot search the old files because it is lying in the section itself, and more time is required for searching. Also, if it was properly arranged in the old record sections, the retrieval of the old records was easier, and we can revise the pension cases faster, which is not happening. Plus, the entire pension wing in the GE group are centralized AC in the AC board. So what happens if the records are kept in the sections, the dust prices and our health concerns are there.
Absolutely. Point very well taken. Point very well taken. It is something that needs to be addressed. I recognize that there must be space constraints, but I think if necessary, deploy a few people extra, so that they come in on weekends, clean up, sort out, and wherever you can store them possibly.
We already have some rented space.
So,
Space, maybe we think of
yeah, but I think the thing is to also have an army to tackle this immediately, where they come in, sort out the records, and they get moved straight away to that rented space, so that the environment is clean.
I think in case you need additional manpower for doing this, you can just write to headquarters. Yeah. I think, on a short-term basis.
We'll make
for
available.
Or something, you want additional manpower.
We'll make available the manpower, and you assess also the rented space you have for the storage.
Madam, good morning. It's Pushpa and Nayaka. I'm here.
Yeah. Left side.
I'm here, madam.
Yeah.
So I am in charge of RM actually. We have a lot of space constraints. In spite of we writing to headquarters that pension wing, GE wing, apart from accounts, actually it is VLC which is occupying the corridors. Even the section has been loaded with records like files, as it's already stated. And we want to shift all those to the safe place wherein we are not having enough space also to shift it from the section. Of course, even if they do, they are ready. Of course, our team is always ready to weed out the records and do the old records. But I need a place to shift all these to a place.
That's why I'm saying if the rented space needs to be reassessed,
yes,
we need to do that. But obviously, it is a major issue. It's a major issue in many A&E offices, but it is something that needs to be addressed and tackled.
Madam, we are already
Because
paying
as
rent.
pointed
Madam.
out,
We are
that
already
it-
paying rent around 4.5 lakhs every month. Around 48 lakhs we are spending per year, in spite of which there is no space.
So it's a problem. That's why
Yes,
we
madam.
took up this project of digitizing all the records.
In spite of
etc. So that's why I'm saying let's do that on, war footing.
Madam,
And,
digitization is a process to retrieve, but it is a permanent record. So I need space.
So then we need a permanent solution.
Yes,
we can't
madam.
do putting bandages.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I think assess the space requirement, the storage facilities, and how quickly we can at least
And-
move them out of the working area.
Madam, it's
So that-
also that the building is under a problem. Madam, PWD is already intimated us in 2000, end of January 2020, written a letter to this office saying that it is high risky building for us to staff work under it.
Oh, is there, has that been intimated to headquarters? Is there any proposal in this regard?
There was a proposal, ma'am, for some 37 lakhs, and one part of the building has got also, is under repairs. That's also, ma'am, causing the space constraint.
No, I think thank you once for bringing it to our notice, because the estate is handled by a different wing in the head office. What we'll do is, because we didn't know about this, that this issue, we are
And
not
one
aware
more
of this
point.
issue now, but thanks for bringing it to our notice.
There is one
what
more
we'll
point,
do is
sir.
when we go back,
There is
we'll
one
just
more
discuss
point,
with the
sir.
estate wing.
Sir, there
and
is
see
one
what
more
we can
point.
do.
We want periodical release of funds. For any time we write to headquarters, we are not getting funds, sir, for reconstruction or for any. In fact, last 2019 also we had written for where there is a compound wall, there is one cycle stand which is to be renovated, and in fact, our building also, every year there should be funds to be released whenever there is a request, because it's a heritage building.
Absolutely, completely agree with you. The only thing is, the one part that I don't agree with is when you say must be
It's okay,
available.
please, sorry.
The point is, it's a budget for
Yes,
the
madam.
entire
Works.
organization. So, there are different priorities, but this is a top priority. And where you say it's a heritage building, I think we also need to assess. I'll request DG headquarters, who's in charge of estate, to visit Bangalore.
Please,
And then, Smita, you can show her, and then we can see how they.
Madam, there is one more point, madam. With the introduction of new policy of estate, madam, which is estate manager with a new formation of committee, I'm sure it is only one estate officer who will decide for all the buildings around them, under them. So I think special attention should be given to A&D especially, madam. Thank you, madam.
A&E is very close to my heart.
Yes, madam.
I will definitely,
Thank you, madam.
definitely ask DG headquarters to come and to have detailed discussions on this aspect.
Thank you, madam.
This is
Thank you.
something which needs to be addressed.
Because
Definitely.
life is a threat, that is why.
Safety, health, I think those are priority areas. And then, as you say, it's a heritage building. In fact, if we can preserve it and preserve it where it is modernized from inside.
In fact, there were 3 instances wherein there was concrete blocks which has just fallen behind the fan also is fallen,
How
madam.
come this has not been highlighted?
Ma'am, in fact, I was just checking, our FMD section is also here. I also personally do not recall the proposal for the cycle stand and all which has come to us. But in case these proposals are there in headquarters, we will certainly release the required money. ACN also has something to say.
There is one more problem under this, madam. When each time our PWD authorities are writing and giving us estimate, and we don't get funds from headquarters, they are telling, no, we don't want to give any more estimates to your building, because the toilet is also leaking, and we are requesting them to give us our...
My apologies. This is our responsibility to ensure a decent working environment.
Please, madam.
DG headquarters will visit at the earliest.
Yes, madam.
And we can review
Yes,
it
ma'am.
all. And
These are all,
we
yes,
will,
ma'am.
I think she could perhaps have an interaction with the CPW, the PWD here, so that whatever needs to be done, we will do it on a priority, but we will not let you
Yes, ma'am.
continue in the same dangerous environment.
Yes, madam.
Yes.
It's stinking. Toilets are also stinking, madam. Thank you, sir. Thank you for considering us.
No, we are here for that.
There are visitors visiting DA and pension sections, and even we have to climb to a 4th floor. The 4th floor also houses some of the G sections, which is a very difficult task for most of the rural employees who are above 50 years.
Point well taken. I identify completely with that. Now,
That's what necessitated funds.
we need to.
The AGOC Rangamandira has been filled by e-waste of the office, and the club hall is equipped for digitalization of the records.
I think it's too close to your mouth, so that's why
Due to digitalization of the work, the club hall has been occupied with the records. No space for AGOC activities. And the Ranga Mandira is to be used for the functions. It has been occupied with the e-waste of the office. So this has to be removed. And the falling of the office is regular. In every corner, the roof is falling down. And one fan was fallen in front of the fraction of inches. The official has escaped. It is a very bad condition, and the welfare of the employees has to be taken care of.
Absolutely, completely agree. I'm sorry, and I honestly tell you that none of us here were really aware that the situation was like this.
So,
We're very glad that you've highlighted it, you've brought it to the forefront. The fact that so many of you are expressing the same concern, different aspects of the same concern. As I've said to you, we will address this at the very earliest, and DG headquarters will move it.
And with reference to recreation also, as he has pointed out, with reference to welfare officer, I would like to say, madam, digitization is under process. It has been occupied. Club hall has been occupied now, and around 80,000 records has been digitized, whereas still more 7 lakh records to be digitized. It may take another 3 years. And with our people having no activities, no yoga, they want yoga hall, gym hall, no simple and small function is also not being able to arrange.
This is something we definitely need to, because I think what I saw in Hyderabad as AGND was that the wholesome life that is created around the office, where there's access to recreational facilities and things like that, and that is something we respect. So we definitely need to see how best and where we can accommodate them, whether it's a little neighboring area or some such thing, but certain facilities definitely.
People are also working in dark, madam. It needs upgrading. With reference to our headquarters guidelines, it's going to get upgraded to LED lighting. And that is also not being done. It's literally dark for them to work on, madam.
Why is it dark?
Madam, the lighting,
there's a process to go in for LED, and in the interim, it seems some places are dark.
No, yeah, this is ridiculous. I was in the dark about this. We need to definitely.
Thank you.
Being a lady employee, your office does not have a lady restroom at all, madam. AD office does not have a restroom where most of us are 50 plus ladies working in this thing. Not even 10 minutes break we can take, and where we need to rest your back or something. We don't have a restroom facility at all in our office.
Okay, definitely. These are all aspects of that, and we are very glad that you're flagging these, because the bigger stones get taken care of invariably. It's the little pebbles that get left out. We'll definitely.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, the next issue was also related to all these which have been raised regarding the library and the space for the recreation club. Ma'am, we had also, we would request the HOD to address these with whatever out-of-the-box thinking is possible. I'll move on to the next issue.
Prioritize the funding for this.
Yes, ma'am. Any funding which is there. Ma'am, for the recreation club and all, the funding has to, through the headquarters, we will release it, but the proposal has to come through the headquarters. AC?
Ma'am, regarding the last point also about the building or the compound wall or the cycle stand, this system is this, the minor works and the works basically are handled by DG headquarters, as ma'am was telling. So your proposal has to go to the state wing, that is the Director General headquarters. From there, they scrutinize the proposal and approve it, and then the administrative sanction comes to the ACN or the FMD wing, the staff wing. And then after we get the sanction from the works wing, we approve it. And I don't think it takes, as I already told, it doesn't take time more than a week. Basically, here for minor works, I don't think there will be any problem of fund, because I know the situation that if you demand the fund on time, if you project it in advance and demand the fund on time and send the proposal, the complete proposal I'm saying, because sometimes in the works proposal there are works wing. So the office has to take care of those lacunas and send the complete proposal to the DG headquarters. DG headquarters gives the approval, the funds are released within a week. So that procedure is there. For the LNR, again, the Director P is the authority who releases the fund. So when they tell us to release the fund, we release it immediately. So here also, I don't think there is a problem of fund. There only the problem of pursuing. You send the proposal on time. That is very important, because if you send the proposal at the time when the funds are exhausted, that time it will not get passed. So proposal will be returned. So again, you have to follow it in the right budget cycle. So monitor that. You project it, you spend it on time, and then again ask it in the revised. So that is the cycle which the administration has to follow to get the funds.
This is Puneet Kumar Sahi, housekeeping. Related to that damaged compound wall and parking shed, actually, the first estimate was sent in the month of August 2019. And we got the reply from headquarters office in October or November. Due to low priority, this estimate will be considered in next financial year. Again, in priority list, we had sent that estimate to headquarters office, and it was not considered. After that, in 2021, that estimate got lapsed. We could not get anything. So this is the issue we are facing related to release of funds for minor works.
Please, from your side, do follow it up. And we'll also ensure that it is, that there is any approval or anything which is required. We'll try and follow it up at headquarters. It is with another wing, but we'll follow it up. Like ACN said, earlier the better, because after a point of time, not only is there a paucity of funds, but also we have doubts regarding the ability to spend it. So please immediately follow up with this proposal.
Madam,
it's not just your problem, it's our problem. So we'll definitely tackle it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Madam, good morning. I'm Satish here. In connection with Recreation Club. Recreation Club that is been occupied for digitalization purpose. And from the past 3 years, there is no recreation happening. There is no cultural activities being conducted. Rangbandira also is being occupied with e-waste. And the library is almost is about to fall. And though we have a very good collection of books, we are not having sufficient space to keep those books. Most of them who are present here, they are much in need of library. Whenever I pass in or I just go through, they just keep asking when is the library getting opened, and for which I don't have a reply. Though the sufficient space is available in the office premises. There can be an extra building constructed, or the place where they are given for library, it is only only filled with waste only.
Actually, we had, I think the office had moved a proposal to pick it up to agents, ma'am. We had done a proposal, but the person who had agreed, he didn't come, ma'am. This is just recent. We'll again.
Yeah, I think the whole estate and all the facilities that are desirable need to be looked at comprehensively.
No, for the past 3 years, there is no cultural activities happening in the club hall, madam.
Partly that would be COVID and this thing, but no, point is very well taken, and that's what we are trying all of you, that I think it's important to do a comprehensive assessment of space requirement for different, whether it's the housing of the records, whether it's the sections, whether it's the restroom for the ladies, whether it's your library, whether it is cultural and recreational facilities. We definitely need to have a comprehensive look at all that, and then bit by bit put it all in place. Definitely.
Thank you.
I want to add to it. We don't even have Xerox machines for each wing. It gets repaired every time, and once it is repaired and another 2 years again we don't have it. Madam, and we feel so bad. We feel we are ill-treated because Audit wing is having all the facilities. Accounts people, we don't even have Xerox machines. Records such a difficulty. We feel so bad to reply to sections, Banu.
No. Point.
And even printers,
well
most of the AOs don't have printers, Banu. And we are working with all odds, but we are giving, but on the other hand, we are working with very good ratings in our care.
Hats off to all of you that despite whatever constraints that you're facing, you're doing a great job.
Ma'am,
Send us proposals for your Xerox machines, for your printers, etc.
And ma'am, just to also give the confidence to all our audience, in staffing, because Xerox machines is one thing, photocopiers, which we prioritize. We give funds immediately for these things. So normally no doesn't happen. We would await the proposal.
Can I suggest that if we can carry back a couple of, Smita, can we carry back some proposals right now so that they can be processed immediately?
Madam, actually, approaching the court, make anybody.
We can educate, that's why I say educate, and that onus is with the state government.
Ma'am, actually, the government is not.
So they are asking for 10 lawyers. So that was my requirement. So I had talked that time with the legal wing. Legal wing was very open, and they said, "Ki you identify the lawyer, you send the proposal along with the biodata. I need that lawyer, a registered one, and he should agree in writing to get paid as per the norms." That is the requirement. So you need a lawyer who will stand there, because basic work is you are doing. Lawyer is not going to type or anything. You are doing that, I know. You are providing all the OMs, all the circulars, all the typings and parawise comments are done by our people only. Lawyer, you need to stand there. So this is the solution. If AG responds and Advocate General responds and give you the names and they agree, that is very good. If they don't agree, if they don't give you names in time, kindly go to the legal wing, correspond with them, get the biodata of 10 good lawyers which you know, and they should be willing to work with you whenever you require, not as per their convenience. So you find out, and that will be the solution.
They are asking us to transfer the amount to RTGS. See, we are not the DDO. How can we make the payment?
Understood. I understand what you are telling, but the solution is you need somebody to stand there and tell these things. You need that person. Your office will not get any relief from the court unless you present your facts there. And your concern is your office work, and you need not be sent to the court. That is your concern. No? So we will try to address that.
Please take it up with legal wing. Basically, the point is that you have to hire your...
I'm okay. I just have a crisis on my hand.
Then you hire them.
Your only concern is they should be paid as per the norms. That's
okay.
No, it is, I'm trying to do it on
the state government case.
The AG who is sitting next to them. Okay. Then so the AG comes.
They are lawyers. Sometimes we intend to AG as a first party. That is actually what is happening. Actually, what we got to panel reporters is fine. Actually, we are only 10 lawyers, every regular also. One thing is, we can ask them to explore whether we can use these lawyers for our state government. Karnataka State Administrative Tribunal and High Court also.
No, I think in UP also, there are huge number of cases. I think this is not something which is peculiar to Karnataka. Even in UP, we know that there are large number of cases, some 2,000 or something. Or maybe even more than that, large number of cases. And so once again, I think some legal assistance relief has been provided to the AGK. So that is what I think the DA man is also saying. Explore that option. Thank you.
And sir, in fact, some of the offices which have higher number of court cases, they have asked for the creation of a special post, senior AO legal, to handle that, and even from the office side. I don't think any such proposal has come from Karnataka senior AO legal. You already have one. Even a double, I mean, the point is it will be based on your... Of course, I mean, that if you're involved in a court case, that briefing OMs you will have to. Yes.
Her senior AO legal is at present in the court. So,
Yeah,
I think just
two,
streamline. I
UP
think
for
what
instance
you
has
need to
two
do is
senior
just
AO legals.
streamline.
So based on your work,
I think what needs to be done is a streamlining of process. Okay? It's not an issue which is unique or something. It needs to be streamlined. And whatever, let's say if you need an additional post or something, right?
okay. Ask me. If
Madam, should we discuss a couple of more issues and then
Okay.
Okay. Ma'am, this is the next issue, which is lack of transparency in conducting the RA and the CPD and other exams. The grievance which was raised was that the process of conducting and announcing the results lacks transparency. The question paper and the answer keys are not provided to the candidates, even despite filing RTI applications, and therefore they are requesting for some action in this regard. So we have looked at the issue, and we would just like to bring, as you know, that these exams are conducted in multiple choice question, MCQ mode. And in this kind of a pattern of exam, question papers are not provided to the candidates because this is the internationally accepted practice also for MCQ type of questions, question papers, exam papers. That is our view. If anybody would like to say something on the issue, please do.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Basically, I would like to request you, sir, that whenever training is being conducted to the new entrants, I would like to bring to your notice that they come from different disciplines, like engineering graduates have got inducted into this office, and people from various disciplines, they are also recruited, not only science graduates, but even commerce and arts graduates. When they are imparting training, when they are giving training, there are technical issues. We are not able to hear, we are not able to follow. The faculty is very good, I don't deny. The efforts made by the headquarters is excellent, I agree. But kindly, let the technical aspect be taken care, number one. I'm not dictating you, but I'm asking you, sir, why there is negative marks? We struggle so much. What is the standards you have? Are you equating us with the IAS officers? Or what standards you have? Or what standards you want to establish so that we should adhere to that? Is my question today afternoon, sir.
Thank you for your question. Now, if there are concerns that, the technical aspects are not being taken care of, I think that's an issue which we'll take up with the training wing. We'll certainly do that. Maybe if you can give us more specific details, you can write to us separately on amplify. When you say technical issues are not taken care of, it could be taken care of better. Please write to us and amplify what exactly you would like us to do further. We'll certainly take it up with training. And the second one, why negative marks? What is the purpose of conducting this SAS exam? The purpose is to assess whether the employee is fit enough to work as an assistant accounts or assistant audit officer. Now, in any MCQ exam, that's a difference between a descriptive answer and an MCQ exam. In a descriptive, unless you know the answer, you will not get full marks. Here, you may not know anything about it, but still you can do a guesswork and you can score marks. So to avoid that, there's a practice that negative marking is kept. We are not equating you to IAS officers. even if you take any entrance exam, NEET entrance exam, you take the NEET entrance exam. That is only for graduates and undergraduates. For getting admission as graduates, even there is a negative marking. So once again, there are two different streams of exam patterns. One is an essay type and the other is an MCQ. When we decide to follow the MCQ, there are some protocols which we have to necessarily follow. One is to have negative marking so that you do not reward a person for guesswork. That is one. And second is this aspect of asking for answers. What happens in an MCQ is, ideally, since I also handle exam, we would have a question bank of about 500 questions. You get about 100 questions. So if you start sharing this question bank with you, the questions, then we'll exhaust our questions very quickly. And this is a practice followed internationally because I hold certification in CIA, CFE, other exams. And even in India, wherever they conduct MCQ exams, the questions are not shared. Not only that, in some institutes, I think like the CA Institute, disciplinary action can be taken if you share the questions which is asked in an MCQ paper. So to that extent, the institutes, professional institutes are very careful that the questions should not go out because it's a finite question bank. I think that is what I'd like to share.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, sir. One point regarding this exam, sir. Recently, not concerning the essays and CPT, for Group C staff and other department exams like incentive exam for super accountants, senior accountants, and DE examination, departmental exam for accountants. The first, recently they made, headquarter made it MCQ type, sir. But that detailed orders were not there, that how to conduct and on that. Then the about negative marking also, no explanations were there. So the officers were made into trouble. We could not decide on what pattern and when to follow. And both the orders, the clarification headquarters issued letter, but it was in conflict with the first order. The first order says that from the date of issue of the exam, this order, all the examination should be in MCQ type. Then the second order says that it will be in effect from the July onwards, whatever examination is there, that will be in the MCQ. Also in this regard, this Group C staff, senior staff will be attending this. Again on minus marking, that will be, it will not be helpful for them. At the end of their service, the Group C employees got promoted as accountants and all that. And I don't think that will be very apt to introduce negative marking to them. The directly recruited staff, it is correct, sir. But for the promotees, it will be a task to accept the concept of minus marking.
I think
so. That is
okay. There's obviously a leaning towards this that there shouldn't be negative marking. Here, I'm sorry to say, take it as a given. Negative marking will be there if it's a multiple choice objective exam. Otherwise, what you're doing is encouraging guesswork. And that's not what we want. And whether they're direct recruits or promoted, that's not the point. The point is a certain competence. There is an objective of doing that exam and of the organization holding that exam. And that is to establish a certain proficiency, a certain knowledge, etc. That cannot be compromised. I'm sorry.
That professional concern I understood, ma'am. Then at least to encourage those senior staff, Group C promoted staff and all that, any age limit, just like typing test, after a certain age, 50 years of age, they don't need to take that. So like that, if you can do some arrangement for such stuff, it will be really beneficial to them because they may not be serving in that competency level for long. They may be remaining service for 4 or 5 years.
This is where we have a lot of, let's say cross-purpose communication. Like you talked about distinguishing quality of work at different levels. Then if we lower and say that everybody can, irrespective of performance, do it, then how do you enhance the quality? We can't do that. So there has to be a balance, and again I reiterate, which I have been doing since yesterday, ADI's words of wisdom, you have to have a balance, okay? So it's the personal requirement, and why are you assuming that they will not be able to do it if they put their minds to? Why are you assuming a certain incompetence level on their part?
That's a fact, ma'am. I'm not.
I find it difficult to believe that you can so categorically assert it's a fact. The point is, and I think you also need to look at it, all of you, some of you will be supervising those people. Then don't come back to the administration and say, I don't want so-and-so in my section. You can't have it every which way. And a certain proficiency is required, and that we will nurture. That we will definitely nurture, encourage, and I don't see why, that's why I said cross purposes, because the same person will come back tomorrow and say, I don't want this person in my section. Tell me the honest truth. Will that happen or not? So then...
There's just one aspect which you mentioned. I noted it down, that maybe there is a need for comprehensive guidelines on conducting MCQ exam for accountants by the office, because this is something new which we have started now. I noted it down. We'll discuss it in headquarters and we'll issue comprehensive guidelines so that there is no inconsistency between different orders. We'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that she wants to say, then we'll come.
Yes.
Yeah, please pass on the mic to her.
Hello. Sir, you were speaking about the transparency of results and examination. Basically what happens is, you said that there's a question bank of say about 500 questions or something. So obviously you have 500 answers with you ready. So is it possible to announce the results as and when the exam gets conducted? Like in other, this one, you said there are norms. So most of the exams like GATE and all, you get the scores right on the screen. So is it possible for our office to implement it?
Thank you. I think this is a point which was raised yesterday also. I'll explain what we are doing. What happens when even in an MCQ exam when we conduct, of course we have the answer for each and every question. But what we also do sometimes is, we do a data analysis of all the exams, all the answers. So with the analysis, sometimes we have found out that maybe very high percentage of people do not answer a particular question correctly, which means there is a problem with the question itself. Either the question has not been written correctly, it is ambiguous, or there is a question which is amenable to more than one answer. There is a high possibility because the question is vague. So in such cases, from our data analysis, we have found out that there are few, sometimes it does happen. So in those cases, we take a lenient view. All this also takes some time. And in addition, I think there is one paper which is descriptive. So that takes time. So, one or either, how do we announce the results? Then for that paper which is descriptive, it is going to take us time because it has to be evaluated, then it has to be moderated at a higher level before we announce the result. So that is why it is taking time, but I think your point is well noted. We'll go back and examine as to how faster we can announce the result and whether we can even announce the result immediately as soon as you take the exam. We'll explore it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. So there are a couple of points that I would like to make. One is sometimes the questions are not from the syllabus. What I mean here is, let's say public finance, it says the questions are to be, you would have to ask questions from the current year's budget and economic survey. But we had about 15-20 questions from 2017-18 last year. So, and questions like how much is the money allocated? It's not like concepts wise. So that leads to cramming figures.
Agreed. Completely well taken, and ADI is heading a committee which is looking into the structure of the exam and the quality. We are aware of it, and we are definitely addressing it.
Yes, ma'am. The second one is sometimes we have the same question repeated in the same exam. So either we get it twice right, or we have to leave it out. So, some committee which goes through the question paper before it is published, it will be good.
Completely
Yes.
agree.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Third one is the IT paper for CPD 6. I'm an IT trainer. I've been training for this paper, like I take classes, but I think it's too tough. in the sense there is a syllabus that is prescribed, but we also want the sub-points. For example, if you're going to say data analytics and expect people to read everything in data analytics in that very short period of time, it will be difficult, and especially for the A&D staff who do not have much, they're not exposed much to information systems audits, and that is a very tough paper, ma'am. Maybe like for A&D, there could be another paper, or maybe it could be watered down a little bit.
Are you talking of CPD 6?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Note it down. We'll just go back and examine it.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
And,
Thank you, ma'am.
Since, as you say, that you are a trainer, and you obviously feel about this, just hand us a little paper with your suggestions on what would be an ideal syllabus.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, dignitaries. I am R. Jaima from GPF wing of A&E, and my issue is regarding closing of GPF annual accounts. And last year, the 2021 accounts were closed much well in advance. It was 25/4/21, and this year, 25th April, we couldn't upload because of lockdown and everything. It was uploaded in May. And this year we have a problem of the IT new rule that above 5 lakhs, contribution above 5 lakhs, the interest on 5 lakhs, it attracts income tax. So we have to maintain a separate account within the account. And we need technical support, and so we are waiting. And the deadline is 30th of June for closing of annual accounts.
GA wing must be handling it. We'll tell you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we have noted down.
And DOPT actually, ma'am, we had given our concurrence also recently. DOPT had issued some sort of guidelines for maintenance of that account.
Within a separate account.
Separate account, ma'am. So we are also consulting with GA wing on that, but we have now given, so probably...
Yeah. No, since they handle the GPF, it's GA wing that needs to do that. And then, as she said, they need some technical support.
Technical support, yes, ma'am, that of
Creation
course.
that little sub-program.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, ma'am. This is regarding CPT exam again, ma'am. Actually, there is some gap between the CPD 2 or CPD 3 exam, CPD 1 and 2, 3. Can the gap be reduced so that retiring employees can also take it up?
Prachi, you have this.
This
was an issue which is coming up later. I think 1 or 2 slides later it's coming up again.
But this time,
I think we can respond to it. Basically, this earlier the gap was more. At present, it is 4 plus 4 plus 3, so which is 11 years. Now, typically, our department is a knowledge-based department, and the employees have to be abreast of the newest occurrences, events, or documents in that particular area. If we reduce the gap, then the whole objective of the scheme, which is continuous professional development over the career of the employee, would not be met. While yes, it would definitely result in quick advance increments, but it would not help our employee to be abreast of the newest knowledge and developments in the area over his career, his or her career. So 11 years we considered that fact, and we found that 11 years is okay, 4 plus 4 plus 3. So of course, because the scheme was introduced in 2011-12, so CPD 3 was held for the first time only recently, and definitely certain employees may not have had the benefit of this thing. But at present we would not be able to reduce the gap further, because squeezing all that knowledge into say 2 or 3 years would not fulfill the objective of the scheme. Thank you.
This is regarding SS exam. We have to study like government accounts through GAR, JFR and AG code for accounting general. But as I am working in GE group, I don't have any practical knowledge regarding government accounts, how they are formed. So practical training should be given to those who are taking this exam.
Sir, if I can just mention, While of course you are this is
They
for
don't have any knowledge of how government accounts are formed.
this is for specifically the SAS exam for government accounts. Sir, I'm just inquiring because the training for the WO probationer should involve rotation to each wing. So I think this is one aspect which definitely the HODs have to take into consideration, that the probationers are given hands-on practical experience, and maybe but he's taking the SAS exam, no? He wants to try for it. No, but even then it doesn't matter. Rotation policy means that he should have, by now, he should have been posted in different areas also. What I'm trying to say is that it should not be limited to the training. Don't depend on the training. The rotation policy should ensure that the staff do move out from the wings. That is not happening. Yes, of course.
Regarding this, nothing is happening regarding the transfers of policy.
Exactly. That is why I raised it, because that's the next point also, and the rotation policy has to be followed. Nilesh, you wanted to say something?
Actually, the point about the transfers, interwing transfers, that is a separate thing which should not be linked with the examination, because the question which was there, ma'am, was he is not getting the practical exposure, so he can't clear the examination. Let me tell you, I was IND's probationer. I cleared government accounts 2 papers, which were very tough. So I did not have any practical knowledge of how to form an account. I cleared those because I wanted to be in the service. I wanted to get confirmed. I got the exposure after the posting. So no, it's not about the IQ. It's not about the IQ, right? IQ. See, if he's in a government service, he has a basic IQ which was required to get into the service. If a person wants to get career progression, right? So you have to study. You can't take excuse under the garb ki I am not exposed to that, so tone it down for me or give the training to me. That is, of course, as an INDD, I think we are the only department, ma'am, which give the training and make people pass. Show me any other department, government department, who does that. So the transfer and examination should not be linked. Transfer, I understand ki a monotonous job. People are there in the sections for so many years, and they feel that they should get the exposure of accounts, PF, pension, administration, all these things. When they retire, they should have worked in all the 3 wings of the office. I understand that, but it should not be linked to the exam. That's what my personal opinion is.
No, of course. It's not, but
I cannot explain it to my junior that how I passed this exam.
That's okay. That's okay. You're not under any obligation to explain to anybody how you passed. You passed, well done. I think, but see, I think one thing that is very clear, and let me make it very, very clear if it isn't already clear, ours is a knowledge-centric department. We take pride in our professional excellence. We take pride in the technicalities that we deal with and the justice that we do to that. We cannot compromise on quality. These exams are there for a purpose. They're there to raise the bar, not lower it. Let's not even strive for that, because that will be counterproductive. The respect that you command today, you will not command that. It's as simple as that. And as ACN has clarified, don't mix up issues. Take pride that you have stiff exams, but for which you are given ample training. And there is also an openness to, say, looking at that training and the way it's imparted afresh. That we are saying we'll do. But we will not compromise on the quality of exams, and let's not mix up issues. Is that fine? Thank you.
Ma'am, I have a request to make or a suggestion. We have well-written books that is provided to the INS officers in Nashimla when they join the academy.
Yeah.
So the same subjects, can those books be shared with the SAS?
No, absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they will be available on, soft copies will be available on the website. If there is a problem in that, we'll look into it, just let us know. But to the best of my recollection, they are there, soft copies, all available on the website, the Academy's website.
Hello, ma'am. Madam, my concern is that practical training should also be given for government accounts.
Yeah, I
Practical
think
training should.
It's such a big request in the office, we'll arrange for it.
Ma'am, training, yes ma'am, we accede to all requests. For instance, CPD 3 also, training, there's a request for training for CPD 3 exam also. For any exam, whether it is an in-house, at the field level or centrally conducted, training requests, please do put it up, and we will also provide the whatever training is required for these exams.
हेलो मैम, मैम मेरा क्वेश्चन एसएस एग्ज़ाम को लेकर है. एसएस एग्ज़ाम मैम हमेशा पोस्टपोन होता रहता है. एसएस हो गया, आरई हो गया, दोनों हमेशा पोस्टपोन होते हैं. ठीक, और उसकी वजह से क्या है मैडम, ये जो इसका रिजल्ट है, रिजल्ट क्या ऑनलाइन होने के बावजूद भी रिजल्ट 3 महीने के बाद ही आता है. ठीक, उसकी वजह से हमेशा पोस्टपोन होता है. तो अभी मुझे 4 इयर्स कंप्लीटेड हो चुके हैं, लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी मैंने अभी सिर्फ 2 ही अटैम्प्ट्स दिए हैं एसएस के. ठीक, और मैडम दूसरा क्वेश्चन मेरा ये है कि जो एसएस से रिलेटेड जितने भी मटेरियल हैं, एसएस हो या फिर जितने भी डिपार्टमेंटल एग्जाम है, वो मैम सारे सीएजी की वेबसाइट पे होने चाहिए. ठीक, और मैम और तीसरा क्वेश्चन मेरा ये है मैम, जैसे कि मैं अभी डीओ हूँ. ठीक, हमें भी क्या है फील्ड पार्टी में जाने का मौका मिलना चाहिए, क्योंकि मैम हम भी क्या है AAOS का एग्ज़ाम लिख रहे हैं. ठीक, उसके बाद क्या है मैम, हम एग्ज़ाम क्लियर करने के बाद भी हमें कम से कम 2 साल लग जाते हैं फील्ड की नॉलेज गेन करने में. हम अपना उतना इनपुट दे नहीं पाते. अगर हम पहले से ही फील्ड में जाएंगे तो हम क्या अपना इनपुट अच्छे से दे सकते हैं.
अभी आप कहाँ पोस्टेड हैं?
MAB बैंगलोर.
बट यू नॉट
हेडक्वार्टर्स में.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, you are the one who has been demoted to auditor?
No, sir. I am DO, sir.
You are DO?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, he's a data entry operator. So data entry operators, normally as a policy, we are not sending them on the field. But it is up to the headquarter if they want to decide, and then. But sometimes we do it. We are still attaching them to the party so that they can discuss and have some knowledge.
I think that's a good idea. That's a good. Yeah.
Ma'am, officially the constitution and composition of an audit party is defined, AOWs. They also have responsibilities and they also have the accountability for that. Right. Probably attaching a DO for the sake of giving experience may be difficult. Or we also have, they have their own responsibilities, DOs have their own responsibilities, and we have vacancies. But most importantly, their responsibilities do not encompass audit. So that may be an issue.
No, but what we can do is that focus on the training part.
Yes, ma'am.
Where we have practical training with, the audit paras, the way we do in Simla.
Yes, ma'am.
Where we give a case, so we can expand the nature of training that is imparted.
Yes, ma'am. We will, when we will communicate with training wing for that also, so that whatever training is being given for the SAS examinations, especially for
practical aspect, because if he's got a point where he's saying that I'll pass the exam, but I have no experience and no idea on
Yes, ma'am.
So it is actually a little detrimental for us.
Yes, ma'am, we will have an inexperienced.
So if we'll definitely see if we can, as the preparatory training, we can include a little module on practical audit training. Coming to your point on making available the resources online, that's a very good point. If it's not already there, we'll definitely make sure that it is.
मैम क्योंकि इतनी सारी वेबसाइट है मैम, पता ही नहीं चलता जेन्यून कौन सा मटेरियल जेन्यून है कौन सा नहीं मैम, हर कोई अपना अपना डालता रहता है अलग अलग. अगर सीएजी वेबसाइट पे होगा तो हमारे लिए इजी होगा थोड़ा.
अच्छा, तीसरा पॉइंट क्या था?
I think the third issue was about the delay in conducting exam and postponing it.
Yes.
Okay.
I think regarding the postponing exams, I think maybe it was postponed by a month or so, by a short period. That is largely because I think from some officers there are requests for postponing the exams, and so that's why it is done. And I think your other point is that the results are delayed, declared after 3 months.
Yes.
And it's already explained to you what is the process we follow. And I also made a promise that we'll go back and examine and see whether we can announce the result faster. We'll certainly do that.
Okay,
And sir, he said he had only 2 attempts. So 2 exams in 2020 and 21 got cancelled, but that was because of the COVID pandemic. That's not a normal practice of the department that we cancel SAS. Thank you.
So let's break for tea. Now it's 12:15, I expect all the participants to be back and be seated by 12:30, please. Thank you. 12:30.
I'll have a cup regularly. If you have masala chai, I will be happy. How's it done? Dina. Okay, now for the Centaur thing, Pramod has messaged me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
ಫುಲ್ ರೋಸ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ತೆಗೆದಿಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಎರಡು ತೆಗೆದುಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಡೌನ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಚಂದ
Other thing which I've reviewed the town hall and find that there are multiple concerns that we have on fiscal matters, okay, where they are under bad conditions. So I think it is very, very important that somebody visits pronto, so that it is seen that we are concerned and we are addressing. Otherwise, this whole exercise is, eyeing them, etc. So to identify someone of a reasonable competence and accepted mind who when is Vishal? No. So that means will he be able to come next week? Okay. Now, if no. Exactly. Yeah, and if for whatever reason he can't, then you need to find somebody. But
last year
you have a chat with Vishal, see if it's workable with him. Only thing, we can be accompanied, that person can be accompanied by your Okay. Acha, now this thing when you say that fees higher, that is dismissive as per entitlement or whatever, that is not the ground reality. The ground reality is we are not interested in something. So that's why I want someone to come and then respond. Okay? Okay? So, and I think there may be some more references. Just have a look. Okay? All right. Thanks. Where are we on? We can just continue sitting here. Going. I've asked for a couple. Will somebody revise this? Let me know what it is. Thank you.
Please be seated.
Welcome back. The next issue was regarding the periodical arrangements for training come examination for the Kannada language to newly recruited employees. So the request was that periodical trainings should be organized in-house for the newly recruited employees. Again, this is an important area because new recruits have to gain language proficiency in the local language, and we would request that the HODs also organize the in-house trainings. At the same time, at headquarters, as it was mentioned in the opening presentation, we are looking at the language and IT other confirmation issues. And one of the suggestions for encouraging the learning of the local language is that we would explore the feasibility of reimbursing the fees, course fees, in consultation with the functional wing. Another aspect is to have MOUs with reputed universities who can conduct the trainings, the language trainings in-house, so that it can be done in a professional manner and the language proficiency can be acquired. Does anybody have any issues in relation to that? Any? No? Then I'll move on to the next one.
I think there's
They get the certificates that they have passed, but they're not competent enough. Nothing they would have learned. I don't know how they get the certificates and practical knowledge we need. State government conducts exam in this regard. Only when they pass this exam, they'll be able to, like, probationary period will be declared. So like that, some measures.
Yeah. So that's what the training has to be of a professional level and of a quality level. At the same time, the exam should be able to test that proficiency. We are looking at both the aspects so that it's not just a formality, and it also cannot, but some of the doubts that were done was that in some offices across the country, like the language training which is done, maybe it is done by one of the officers, senior AOs or AAs who are good in the language. Some are doing that, but it is better to do a more professional, adopt a professional standardized approach. So we are looking at the feasibility of all these measures, because we cannot expect somebody to learn the language just like that. So we will encourage them also, that is by reimbursement of course fees from a reputed institute.
Madam, I have a point to make here. While this recruitment process is going on now, you say that you are going to hire more number of people through the Staff Selection Commission. I think CAG, using his constitutional this thing, can ask Staff Selection Commission to tweak the examination pattern in such a way that the local language proficiency also is included in that. The Reserve Bank of India is following that this thing for the assistance exam. And I have a copy of that application form if you want, where they have included the local language proficiency. Yes.
That's why.
Maybe it's just keep that.
You know, our recruitment is mandatory, done through the Staff Selection Commission.
Yes, madam. I think my point is to request the Staff Selection Commission to include this local language proficiency in the several tiers you have. You can add one more tier to this while selection process, while going through the selection process.
I think this is a point on which the staff, if you look at the recruitment rule also, I think this language proficiency has been added in the new recruitment rule, revised recruitment rule, and it's a separate one. And I think the staff selection is saying you do it. And if you see the recruitment rule also, done by the accountant general or something, I think the word language test conducted by the accountant general. So I think, you know, the staff selection, even conducting the exam would become difficult, and there is a Supreme Court order also which says that equal opportunity would not be there. Suppose, if there are 1,000 vacancies here, and then I test in Kannada, then a lot of people may not be, it would be disadvantageous to a lot of other people who are not from Karnataka. That we cannot do. There is a Supreme Court judgment, I think the Radhesham case, which says very clearly, you cannot do at the level of recruitment, you cannot do this. That's why subsequently after joining, we are kind of asking people to acquire proficiency in the regional language. So at the stage of examination, we cannot put in this.
But what is happening is all those people who come from other states, they just want to go back, or they want to stay closer to their home, and they take leave quite often. The process of work is hampered to a great extent.
We recognize these problems.
Yeah.
We recognize them, but again, these are things that one needs to work along with.
I think, as the DMM has been saying before, that there are some issues which are just beyond our control. Because I think, once again, as a Government of India entity, we have to work within the parameters of the DOPT rules and regulations. So the exam has to be conducted by the Staff Selection Commission, and they are not in a position to conduct language proficiency because of the Supreme Court ruling. Because at the stage of admission, at the stage of entry, you cannot have these barriers. So subsequently, that's how we wanted to work around this, and then started this language proficiency for confirmation. I think if your point is that maybe people are not tested adequately, or they do not have the necessary skills, I think, as the PD staff has said, we'll try and see whether we can have some sort of a arrangement with accredited professional institutes, so that people who really pass the exam have basics language skills.
Thank you, sir.
And I can't help saying that the same concern is what we were talking about earlier before the tea break, that an exam is there for a purpose. Let's not make a mockery of it by reducing the standards. Later we suffer, later we complain.
Thank you.
The next issue there is regarding imparting quality training for scenarios in IIMs, National Law School of India, and other state-of-the-art institutions. We, as a department, is already conducting trainings in various external institutes like the O.P. Jindal Global University, Arun Jaitley National Institute of Financial Management. So we are tying up with external institutes. At the same time, we have introduced the concept of self-nomination for training programs at various IIMs. This was initiated in October 2019. And in October 2021, the CNDAG of India has approved a revised self-nomination scheme so as to enable scenarios as well as WOs to participate in online training programs which are conducted by the IIMs. So we are expanding this boundary for training at external institutes as well. And that is not to say, of course, that our RTIs and RTCs are not modernizing or broadening their scope or having a more focused training for our own departmental needs. Would anybody like to say anything further?
Respected Madam. Madam, except our administration group, like Pension and GE, and all groups received letters in local language, letters in maximum, more than 80% letters, Madam, received in local language only. That's why we required more knowledge from local language. So nowadays, who are able to do local language work, A&D office, pressure to do some more work in like pension group and G group. Respected Madam, so please ensure, please train up both who are all selected in Karnataka Cadre through SSC. Please give more well-trained, because of local language we are able to do work, we are suffering more work, Madam.
See, your point
That's
is
why.
well taken. I think PD staff addressed this very adequately, that we will try to tie up the training. ADI staff address this whole issue that equal opportunity is what the SSC, carries out its activities by, and you cannot therefore categorize at that stage. That's why the alternative is the training, language training, to be taken seriously, and as PD staff said, we will look at ways of ensuring that there's quality training.
And Madam, we required Hindi language, Hindi cell, we are able to do well work. Like Kannada cell also is well equipped. Kannada cell also we required A&E office, Madam. Please consider our request. Thank you, Madam.
I understand we already have just recently set up a Kannada cell in office, and we'll be, ma'am, I think we are trying to see if we can get some consultants also for that cell. So that's, ma'am, the proposal on hand at the moment, and we'll strengthen.
Training in IAMs, we went through that you have just given us orders like where we can do that online programs. But one thing I saw was the age limit. Beyond 55 we can't take. So that is one more thing which will be like, see something knowledge. When PD ma'am, like the guy has clearly said, they said knowledge center, like till our retirement we are going to actually want to acquire knowledge.
Absolutely.
So that way we felt.
Sorry, I wasn't aware of this, but we will address this.
We were disheartened. In fact, I was the first one when I got an order to enroll. But when I saw the age limit, I had just crossed by 3 months.
No. We will address this. This is something we must do.
Ma'am. Right. So the next issue is which... Oh.
Madam, on promotion as supervisors, we are sent for treasury inspection. Whether supervisors, AAOs who are going on treasury, once over there will not know anything. So before going, we should be given training.
That's an internal thing, I think.
There they feel that we lack in our profession. Okay. They feel that AG's office does not know anything.
No.
Because once we are trained, we can do something.
Yeah, I'm sure your HOD will take care of that. And if I'm not mistaken, I think GA Wing had developed a template of how to conduct treasury inspection.
We will not know anything because how to start about, we will not know anything.
No. You must not know anything. It's very important that you know. Please.
I think this is an important point. So, reducing the gap between the CPD exams, we have already discussed that we have taken a decision that 11 years is a considered and well thought out. This was an issue regarding rectification of anomaly due to the application of provisions of FR 22. These were basically anomaly cases which were received in audit offices. We had also received a proposal from the A&E office, which we have issued our clarifications on. In case anybody has issues regarding pay anomalies, they can raise that right now. Any issues? Okay. I'll move on to the next issues which are related to the PAPS cadre. There was a request for a cadre review in the PAPS cadre. The issue was, it concentrated on two major issues. One was that the PS in CAG office is in grade pay of 4,800, while the same PS is placed at 4,600 in field offices. The second issue was related to the seniority of the HOD, whether as an AG or as a PAG. If they are PAG is sent to the field office, then the PS becomes a senior PS. So it is directly linked to the designation of the HOD. These were two issues that were raised, and we are examining the issue. At present, the PAPS cadre is governed because there are periodical reviews, cadre reviews in Government of India. We have been following that. These are two specific issues which are related to the implementation of the cadre structure in our department, and we will look at this issue. In case there is any comment on that, otherwise I'll move on. study leave for scenarios on par with INDS. This request was that scenarios should be granted study leave similar to the INDS cadres. We would just like to say that the study leave is granted to all employees of INDD as per CCS leave rules. Another issue which was raised was regarding the selection of scenarios for posting to the overseas offices at London, KL and Washington. The request was that the postings appear to be solely based on interviews conducted by the C&AG office, and the results of the interview and the criteria are not made public. So we would just like to say that there is an entire process for selecting the scenarios for these posting to overseas offices. The process itself starts with a recommendation by the HOD. The HOD would go through the APRs and the service records before they actually nominate or recommend somebody for an overseas posting. Thereafter, shortlisting is done at headquarters office based on criteria which are all professional in nature, which basically include the APRs and the service records. And after that, an interview is conducted and the results declared. So in case, so the process is, it is not arbitrary or discretionary to that extent. If anybody has any questions or they would like some clarifications regarding this process, please do feel free. Okay. Then this was a request that after the overseas postings, the work, they should relax it for working at CAG office for 3 years. The 3 years should be relaxed. So we just like to say that C&AG office is actually manned almost 90% by people, staff on deputation. So the policy in this regard of keeping it for 3 years is well thought out, and the tenure is also fairly reasonable, so we don't think that we can reduce this any further or grant any relaxation to that extent. This was an issue raised regarding unilateral deputation to CAG office. There have been some instances, according to the email, where the services of WAO probationers and other staff of field offices are sought in CAG office, and they are selected without following the due procedure of inviting applications. So in this regard, as you know, deputation first of all is based on 3 parameters, which is the willingness of the official concerned, the requirement in that particular office which is seeking a person on deputation, and third is the no objection from the field office. So in certain circumstances, there are people who have been identified because of their skills or because of their experience to man certain posts, and the process for deputation, which involves seeking the no objection from the field office, which involves getting a willingness from the official concerned, is followed, and only then, after the concurrence, after getting the vigilance clearance and all other certificates, is an order for relief issued. If there are any specific cases which have come to your notice or where there is a grievance, please do feel free to tell us. We would look at it. But the process itself is well specified, and we are also following it. So this is regarding, I think, issue was briefly touched upon. That person has said that there are officers who have been working in the same section for more than 10 years, and even newly recruited staff are working for more than 5 years. And request is that the routine transfers should be extended to all officers. Of course, posting is based on the functional requirement, and it is looked after, the rotation is looked after by the HOD. But we would like to know your comments on this issue specific to your offices. We have all the 5 offices here. Please do feel free to, in case people are willing to stay or not. Please.
issue has been brought up before the head of your office many times that by rotation staff should be transferred and posted to other groups, but nothing has happened so far.
No, I think this is actually something that is very desirable. There is an optimum time, which is a learning curve. The HOD could perhaps consider, a sort of intervening period where you have somebody new put in and the transition is smooth. But I think this is important because besides everything else,
especially people who work in pension group and bank group remain there.
Because then they become experts. They become experts, but that's why I'm saying we can have that intervening overlap period where somebody is being groomed to take on so that the work doesn't suffer and the person also can move into another field and get exposure.
Nothing further? So this was a request that based on the local language, department may follow transfer of senior AOs on personal request to their native states so that they perform well in their native state. Unilateral transfer has been stopped by our department almost 20 years back, and it has a lot of multifarious and adverse ramifications. So at this stage, we would not be able to accede to this request. The next issue was regarding the delay in ad hoc promotions to the SAS past officials. And the request was that ad hoc WO has been given till December 2020 examination, but thereafter it has not been granted since August 2021. It was requested to look into the same. We have examined the issue, and giving the WO ad hoc promotion, we actually found that neither was it benefiting the organizational interest nor the individual interest. Organization, because they continue to perform the duties of a lower post, and individually they are not getting a regular promotion. So things like NFU, seniority, etc. are adversely affected. So we are trying to look into a policy which will hopefully give permanent absorption to SAS past officials awaiting WO promotion due to want of vacancy in deficit offices. So this will help both organization as well as individual employees. This is regarding termination order of the WO probationers. This is basically certain probationers had been terminated because they did not either qualify the SAS examination or the language proficiency exam. So there was a request that this should be, sympathetic view should be taken and the termination order revoked. As regards this, the WO probationers have to pass the departmental SAS exam and the regional paper within the probation period, which is 2 years is the regular period, extendable to 4 years. And we look at this very seriously. I think that is the message. Is causing a lot of demotivation. As you know, Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the senior review. Since September 2019, senior review promotion has not happened, ma'am. I request a clarification on that and the status of promotion.
Yeah. So the AG A&D proposal had some issues. We had finalized the proposal, but from 30th March, UPSC was not accepting any proposals till about, I think, 25th of May. Because they were preoccupied with the civil service examinations. We have submitted AG A&D Karnataka to UPSC. We are awaiting a date for the DPC.
Most of us are to retire, madam, in 1 or 2 months and 1 or 2 years also, and they are retiring without the
I am hoping that they will give the date, because now UPSC has to give a date. We'll AG A&D Karnataka. We have been following it up with the UPSC, so I'm very glad.
Panel, madam, can I request which panel? Which is next panel?
DPC 2020. Yeah. Panel year 2020 is the one which has been submitted to the UPSC, for which the DPC will.
21, ma'am.
21, we have not received a proposal. We are processing 21 and 22 together, but Karnataka A&D has. Proposal will not be, till 2020, so the identification of vacancies will not be there. But 21, 22 has not been processed as yet.
When can we expect, ma'am?
We'll just work it out if we are accepting, even in the absence of this. But first, we will concentrate on panel year 2020.
Now that they have got that entrustment.
Entrustment can be done. Entrustment can be done, but
it won't help for the.
It won't help for pensionary benefits for
So
that.
what is the status of that? Because one of our colleague has retired, becoming entrustment AO. So what benefit? Getting any benefit or not? That I just want.
No, that benefit will not be possible.
I think I'd like ADI staff to just elaborate the concerted efforts he personally is making in interacting with UPSC to expedite this.
No, I think, Madam, I think I understand that one of your staff retired last month.
Yes.
Without getting promotion. I think, a really hard goes for her, for that person. Huh?
The essay is in 92.
Absolutely. I think, we all really feel sorry. See, I think, this scheme of group A status to SAO, that has had whole lot of, it had very wide ramifications. I'm not very sure whether when this decision was taken, all those were thought of. Once it became group A, the promotions, the DPCs will have to be held through UPSC. The UPSC was able to do only about 50, 60 some number of DPCs in a year. In our department itself, we have 79 cadre. So just imagine the amount of additional work which the UPSC had to do. So at the highest level, the issue had been taken up with the UPSC. They are also saying that they are getting additional staff to do it, doing our department on a priority. And this doing DPC for 21, 22 is also because of our interaction with them. They are saying, okay, now we'll do DPCs for 2 years together. At my level, I had spoken to the secretary UPSC, and from ma'am's level, chairman UPSC has been addressed. So from our level, I think, at all levels we are taking concerted efforts. Their hands also seems to be tied. And as the PD staff was explaining, they didn't give dates for 2 months for holding. What happens is once a panel proposal is submitted, they'll have to first give us dates for the DPC, which had not happened for about 2 months. Now, I think for two DPCs they are given dates now?
3, sir.
Three now they are given dates. So I think the A&D office, Karnataka, has also gone there. So for the panel year 20, we hope to get the dates sometime soon. And then 21, 22, for all the officers, we are sending combined proposals.
And also, I'd just like ADI to elaborate one more thing, that getting the date, DPC date, and the DPC being held is one part. There is a follow-up, which is that you need the presidential sanction. So that is why ADI staff came up with this idea that at least in that intervening period, since the DPC has been cleared by the UPSC, there can be that ad hoc senior AO.
So
that is his initiative and Madam's initiative to push. So I'm just elaborating that so that you know that we are as concerned as you are. And we're doing our best.
I think this SAO promotion also, if you're asking when it can be given, I think as the DIMM was explaining, the SAO, ad hoc SAO promotion can be given in those cases in which the UPSC has held the DPC, but for want of presidential sanction, the orders could not be issued. So in those cases, we have taken the approval of the CAG and issued SAO ad hoc promotions for 30 officers in covering about 150 employees. So that is what has been done. But once the DPSC proposal gets held up, once the DPC proposals are done, then you know.
The 2020 panel, after that, will it in the 21-22 be earlier, or again even that they have separate time for?
No, we will process it. I mean, because all offices are equal, so on first in, first out basis, we process the proposals, and we once it is all clear from our side, we actually submit it to the UPSC. So, no, there has been a learning curve actually initially.
I can share further with you because before coming to this position, I was also DG in charge of defense. So I attended a UPSC DPC when the DPC was held for my office. I think the process of submitting the proposal itself, it goes through multiple iterations. It is sent to them. Some very minor observation, it comes back to us. Then it goes. So it had taken about 3-4 iterations, and on an average, it takes about 2-3 iterations at least.
Sir, almost 6 to 8 actually. But that was the first time. Sir's office, DGDS, was one of the first offices. We have also learned a lot in the past 1 year. We have streamlined, we developed it actually when we saw that iterations were being done, then we developed that template for the field offices. That was done. Now actually the new template is there because we are putting 21 and 22 together. We want to get the whole process back on track. So we have just submitted one proposal for 21-22. We worked out the template with UPSC, and once we came to that mutual agreement, we have now submitted a proposal which is acceptable in the eyes of UPSC. That same template we will apply to all the other proposals which are received. So again, it should not take that long because we have initiated the process.
Thank you, and I request the DIAS to help us further so that we'll get promotion.
Sir, I have a point to add. Sir, I have a point to add from AO's point of view, sir. So even we will be forced to handle additional pressure, so that at least that entrustment that can be done earlier, no, sir, so that the office will not be put into trouble, sir.
Your DPC is forwarded.
Yes. Now we can.
At least entrustment AOs that we can, if it is.
What PD staff is saying is that
Yes,
since it's been sent.
It has been now. It has been sent and accepted. So entrustment for the AG A&D
can be done.
It can be done.
Additional burden on the existing
Yes,
AOs will be solved, sir.
No, that is actually, it was in fact, entrustment was done specifically keeping in mind A&D offices because there are certain statutory responsibilities which only the senior AO can do, like signing of the PPOs, etc. So that we will...
So now one AO was interested and she has retired. Then again, that vacancy is also this.
Yes.
Any chance I'll be getting my promotion? I have served for 37 years. That's all I can say. Is there any chance that I can get that 21-22, at least an entrustment, a dock at least, madam? The entrustment doesn't serve any purpose.
I'm just, ma'am, I've just asked if the date has come through. If I get the information, I'll just do. Whatever date, actually, the 2 dates which we have got in August.
Yes, madam.
Which is little far off for you are September.
September, madam.
September you are. So we, I mean, now, ma'am, what happens is that all these faces haunt us because we know who was. So we will, let us see, we have actually requested, when the first 2 dates came, and they came in August, we actually requested that that is too far off. You know, we were still in May at that time. So we said that is very far off. We requested them to prepone. Let's hope that we get some results. This is something which UPSC only can help us, but we will follow it up, and especially for A&D Karnataka.
My only request, madam, if you all could do.
No. I don't think. No, I think the ADI explained that for them also it is a new thing and a very large scale increase in their magnitude of operations.
Their workload also expanded.
So we don't want to do that, but yes, I think as Prachi said that interacting with all of you and seeing you not as just data but seeing you as people and people with aspirations which are not being fulfilled, it will spur us on to take this up even more proactively. I think that's what ADI and I were just discussing, that we'll go back and I'll write a letter again to the chairman that these dates are very late. Can we possibly bring it forward? Okay.
Madam, one request. Can the date of entrustment be treated as date of promotion when they get regularization happens?
Entrustment doesn't,
maybe
but this request was made, ma'am, maybe we can re-examine the issue regarding the terms and conditions of entrustment. But we'll have to re-examine within the
Please,
rules.
madam, because many of them are going to retire without any benefits. After having passed the exam in 93, she's and been promoted as AAO in 2000. 22 years after promotion, she's still waiting for her promotions.
We'll definitely look into it afresh and we'll see what best possible mechanism within the prevailing rules that we can work out.
Thank you. Yeah, madam. It is a...
30,000 cases we are authorizing per year, and every month we are making inflow of 2,000 cases. And from past 2.5 years, there was a vacancy of 1 AO. So that was distributed among the AO, and burden more. And next month, 2 more AOs are retiring. So how can we burden so much of work and take it to the whole? And then, addition to that, NPSs are stuck. New pension schemes are stuck. How to do it?
No, I think as Prachi said, that now that entrustment can be done, so that will afford some relief at any rate.
Madam, as...
I think she's been waiting very patiently.
Very good afternoon, ma'am. I appreciate your efforts in expediting the promotion of AAOs to senior AO. I am from NAD Bangalore, where it's commercial trader. So I cannot comment on the process of promotion, but the impact of delay in promotion, I would like the office to address the issues due to impact. One is because we are commercial AOs, the AOs of other wings of civil and other officers have got promotion earlier to commercial AOs. We were also not given the chance of getting an W or SAO order promotion, due to which commercial WOs lose the opportunity of seniority and audit your risk. I would like you to address this. Secondly, subsequent to 2019 order on merger and MACP and CAG order 2020, there are 2 illustrations on how to calculate MACP for SAOs. Illustration 5 and illustration 6. Illustration 5 pertains to people who your SAOs prior to 2019, where they are given to MACPs on completion of 20 years of service since they got AAO promotion, and 20 years and 30 years of service. 20 years MACP is given at 11, and the third MACP at 30 years is given at 11, 12. However, illustration 6 which relates to people who get SAO promotion subsequent to 2019. The calculation is 550. We get a NFU is considered as a first MACP at 11.9. Then our second MACP will be 10 years since I get my SAO promotion, not since 20 years from my WO service. And the second MACP is given at 10, and third MACP is given at level 11. So there is discrepancy when you see in the same cadre across same senior level. This will also impact due to delay in promotion.
No, two things. The order which had all the illustrations, you are of the view that there is an inconsistency in the two examples which were given. We have examined those two examples and we do not find any inconsistency. I don't know whether your office has sent, because offices had sent it to us, and even one association, National Audit Federation, had also sent us this issue. We had clarified that there is no discrepancy in those examples, but it would be helpful if you can send it to us on the email for the town hall. We will again look at it in case you are raising a different issue. Whether it should be related to the delay in the senior AO promotion, I'm not very sure. I don't think that that would have an impact on that. In the sense that, I mean, it will have an impact like any delay would have, not this specific delay. And the first issue regarding the seniority, basically the impact on seniority, which is for induction where all India seniority lists are prepared. I understand that that the SAS, it is the SAS date which is taken there. It's not the senior AO. It will only be impacting the eligibility condition on when you become, but seniority list will not be impacted. And I think to that extent there will be maybe some 5 or 6 months difference in the eligibility conditions. So we'll, but we'll take a look at what you're saying, and of course it would. We'll also see if there is any possibility of, the impact of this delay.
Group, we are functioning only with 50%. 50%, we are functioning with only 50%, and for the past 2.5 years, and last year with COVID, we all really suffered, and all deadlines are achieved well in advance with all these problems, and really this process continues, really, it's taking toll on our health.
We understand that, and I think it's already been addressed partially now by Prachi and partially earlier, where, as she said, that the DPC panel having been sent and accepted by the UPSC, that now we can do that entrustment of charge, so that will relieve partially. And the other part, like we had elaborated, that there are plans to work it out. So I think hopefully this will be alleviated. I think she's explained that, every effort is being made. So you will feel some alleviation, hopefully very soon. Okay.
And as far as workload is concerned, maybe office can send a proposal for retired government employees. For the vacancies.
Yeah.
Madam.
Do that proactively, so that, as she says, that there's no burden. But I had said that earlier also, and I'm repeating it, that congratulations to each one of you, that despite the vacancies, the performance of the office is top-notch.
Now that we are not sure when is our scenario promotion, that grant of charge allowance of rupees 2,500 is too meager, madam. Please kindly justify that, sir.
Can you repeat?
The grant of charge allowance for entrustment charge of rupees 2,500 is too meager. Since the regular promotion, we are not sure when it is. At least that 2,500 can be justified.
Ma'am, we can review that when we are reviewing the other terms and conditions. So I'll just move on a little faster because we are running short of time. So this transfer policy for WO's commercial. So there is a policy in place which since 2010, transfers are made in consonance with that policy and administrative convenience. Obviously, the vacancy position in whichever office, because the burden of vacancies has to be spread out. So the transfer policy is subject to all those administrative exigencies. Rotation. Okay. Ma'am, one question, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Sorry to disturb you, ma'am, and hinge on the pace on which you are going, ma'am. Actually, ma'am, this transfer issue, ma'am, we want to have a little discussion, ma'am. I'm serving in MAV office, ma'am, and as per the ma'am, on OM dated 30th of November 2021, an application was circulated, ma'am, in which application were invited for the directly recruited AOs who had service of 2 years completed in their office or 5 years of combined service for the promoted AOs, ma'am. So on the basis of that, ma'am, we had applied for the transfer, but unfortunately our application has not been forwarded. And ma'am, because of that, ma'am, the junior to us in gradation list, ma'am, are getting transferred to other offices. Similarly, ma'am, I want to present the facts, ma'am, that I have been recruited directly in 2016, ma'am. In that year, ma'am, there was no posting in our northern sides, ma'am. Most of the posting happened in the south side. Now, ma'am, in 2017, again, ma'am, 600 people have been recruited, ma'am. Out of that, ma'am, 145 has been posted in northern side, ma'am. And now, as ACNs are told that 500 new applicants are coming, ma'am, and the posting will happen as per computerized basis. Ma'am, and they will again, ma'am, get the vacant position which are there in the north, ma'am. If this happens, ma'am, then there will be no vacancies in the north, ma'am. In that situation, ma'am, though we are senior, ma'am, and we have applied, but since, ma'am, our application has not been forwarded, ma'am, we will not get the opportunity to get the transfer, ma'am.
The issue of transfer is actually handled by transfer policy for commercial wing, by commercial wing. We will bring it to their notice. And they would be able to better respond to the linkages that you have presented between the seniority and the transfer policy. Maybe you can give us a detailed request in this regard, then we can forward the same to commercial
Two
wing.
things I want to bring in this context, ma'am. First, ma'am, that our application has not been forwarded, ma'am. So there is, ma'am, as sir said, that there is a court case regarding Radhesham, ma'am, in Supreme Court, which said that equal opportunities should be provided to all the officers, ma'am. So we never got that opportunity, ma'am, which is provided to all in the counterparts.
I think you are linking multiple things which are slightly not related. Radhesham is regarding regional recruitment and opportunity for the candidates who are selecting.
Yes,
you are talking about a transfer policy, and you are also talking about a cadre allocation.
Yes,
cadre allocation, whether it is in 2016 or 17, you cannot compare the two, because it is done on the basis of identification of vacancies in that office. Now, I do appreciate that we have received a number of RTIs also on this. Fact is that if the office does not indicate a vacancy, then we cannot post a person there.
Ma'am, the place where I had applied, ma'am, juniors than me, ma'am, already got posted.
That we will take up with commercial wing, the implications of your not sending.
I think I'd just like to clarify that this issue came up yesterday also in the town hall. And as PD staff has said, that we are not in a position to comment on that, but we will definitely convey the intense concern on this issue.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we are not requesting for transfer, ma'am. We are just asking for an opportunity to, ma'am, equally compete for transfer like our counterparts, ma'am, only.
As I said, we'll have to refer it to them, and we will give our perspective, which is that these appear to be genuine concerns. Nilesh, you want to add?
His point is also that his application has not been forwarded by the HOD. I think that's the issue.
Regarding 500 new recruits, the placement of those recruits in the different offices, we asked for the vacancy position to the concerned offices, the concerned cadre controlling basically, where are the vacancies. So one of the cadre controlling is DG commercial in case of commercial cadre. So we will ask them, and we will convey the views of you that if I place a newly recruited person in a vacant position, then the already waiting candidates who are waiting for maybe different reasons. These reasons are not known to us. These are known to your cadre controlling authority. So I will convey your views to the cadre controlling authority. While conveying the vacancy position in different offices, they should take this into consideration, whether any pending request is there to already, based on different ground, maybe medical, maybe spouse.
Yeah, can I
That they
just
can
say
give
on
us
that?
a- they can
Ma'am,
give us
first
a
of all, the
detailed-
policy of shifting people in 2 years is not very good. Okay, by the time I do a training for the officers or WOs, they have moved out. So it is, we have become actually a training ground here. Every 2 years people are asking to move out, and then we are getting the new people. So that cannot be the process. So that's why I had taken a call, because this year 17 people, more than 50% of the people want to get transferred. So it's virtually impossible for me to act on it. I spoke to the headquarters also, and then they said, okay, leave it, and then we'll see slowly. Because and this year we also have additional responsibility of doing an audit for certification audit for the ordnance factory. So we have a additional this thing. So I just decided probably I'll not forward anything, because 17 people, either I forward all or I just reject all of them.
So I think we can, we'll bring it to the notice that maybe they can, after 5 years or whatever, their seniority in the base station, that should not be impacted. That, so they will look at it. Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am. In addition to that, my colleague has told, I'm also from MAB Bangalore. See, means previous year our application was forwarded. This year was not. Previous year, same case was there, and 21 applications were sent and 5 were transferred. So this year only 17 applications are there, and it has not been transferred.
I think that...
I want to just a submission from sir. Sir told that it's a training ground, but whether we serve in Bangalore office or any other office, we are serving IND office only. Yes. So not be a concern.
Okay, I think let's not proceed with this discussion for no other reason but the fact that I'm not in a position to respond to it. Okay, what we will do is convey this in a very holistic fashion to the commercial wing in headquarters. We will let them know that people are requesting, so then they can discuss it with your HOD and see whether all the requests should be forwarded to them and taken on board, or it should be staggered. That I will leave between your...
Yes, madam. Actually, if it is delayed, that our position, main position where we are desired stations...
We will communicate all this to commercial wing. It's their prerogative. They know what their, let's say, professional commitments are. So they are in a better situation. They also know who are, what are the other requests, what are their pressures, etc. So we will communicate. Some points I'll just summarize, and if you still want to add something, please do so. What we will communicate to them is that there is a general concern that influx of new people will lower your probability of moving back to a station of your choice, number one. Number two, wherever you serve, you have been equipped, and you will take those skills transferable, and the SAI India will benefit irrespective, right? These are the twofold points. We will communicate this to commercial wing, and then they will take a call in conjunction with your HOD. And the third part was, of course, conveying that that you have a concern that about transmitting your request, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Actually,
we are not wanting that. Means it should be immediately. At least our representations should be there, so that we are in wait list.
Okay. We'll communicate all these three aspects to commercial wing. All right?
Thank you so much.
The next issue was regarding time-bound rotation, which we have already discussed. This is regarding the delay in release of the SAS pass departmental candidates. So commercial wing had conveyed that it is one cadre control, but number of offices spread across the country, which is why it takes them some amount of time to get all the details, and the entire procedure requires 2 to 3 months. In comparison, a civil audit office is located there itself, and there is only one cadre control for that. So, and one office also corresponding to that. So, therefore, the process is a little faster. Nonetheless, we would also be communicating to commercial wing that the process be expedited. This is regarding the legal issue summoning contributors of paras for witnesses. We have become aware of the issues, legal issues pertaining, which are corresponding in the A&D offices, and we will also take it up. Discussion has already happened on the taking up the matter with legal wing as well as with the chief secretaries. These are issues related to the AG office employees cooperative banks. This is regarding all, there are 4 issues which were taken up regarding recovery of the dues, recovery of monthly dues, and permitting the bank to function in the office premises. This decision was taken by the then C&AG and had been communicated to all the field offices in our department. This was basically that no recovery will be allowed by the DDOs in respect of housing societies and cooperative banks. It was also instructed that the AG office Cooperative Bank of Karnataka would not be allowed to continue in the office premises. This issue came up in yesterday's town hall also, and DI madam was kind enough to say that a detailed proposal may be sent in this regard, which we can re-examine again. If there is anything, because this decision was taken up at the highest level by the CAG, so we would be re-examining when a new proposal bringing forth other details comes.
This recovery of corporate dues of member who are employed of the IIT and who tries in work service or jobs for voluntary retirement scheme. In this case, we have been, the bank has been demanding the dues to be recovered from the BCLG. There's a letter from CAG's office also, long back, based on other requests, bank's request, saying that you recover the dues from the retiring members, whoever is, or somebody who's dying in service, to be recovered. And based on CAG's directions, the DDO was recovering the dues in each case. But last 2 years, the DDO is not recovering because there is no drop down for the recovery of non-government dues. So I request that a provision be made in to recover, because supposing we have some, the issue is now when we request the family to pay the money, bank dues, we are not collecting the interest. From the date of death, we are not collecting the interest, but at least the principal amount when we are demanding, they are telling that I don't know whether I'm not aware that such a process.
There are 2 points in that. One is the principle of whether government DDO can recover non-government. No, I'm just saying we will, based on your request, if we can have a proposal for that. So one is a decision which has to be taken in principle. The second issue is a technical issue where we can give that option. That, of course, it would be easier to tackle.
Central Cooperative Act and the State Cooperative Act says that whenever a demand is made by a cooperative society to the DDO, it is to be recovered. The amount has to be recovered by the DDO. So that being the case, it is requested that a drop-down may be
Definitely. But we will request that a proposal in writing comes. Right.
And permission to continue in office. So, ma'am, we are not hardly, according to some reports which we are having this employees cooperative bank. There are only some 10, out of that 4 is situated in Bangalore, including our office, employees cooperative bank. So all the RBI, LIC and the railway employees, all are functioning in their respective premises they are given it. And we have, in fact, we are paying the electricity dues, electricity expenses and all we are paying to the office. And we request that it is
We will see it. And technical issue also we'll take up, because that option is actually, it has to come from PFMS. We will take it up, provided the in-principle approval comes through. Thank you.
मैडम नमस्ते. हेलो मैडम नमस्ते. सभी को नमस्ते चाह रहा हूँ. ये बैंक से थोड़ा बात करने को सोच रहा हूँ. हमारा बैंक में बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है. बैंक के लिए हमको डेथ रिलीफ फंड के बात कर रहा हूँ. हमको उसके तरफ बहुत कंप्लेंट दे दिया मैं. उसके बराबर नहीं उसको कम्युनिकेट किया. उसके लिए 300 रुपीस ले रहा है. 200 रुपीस हमको वापस नहीं दे रहा है. कोई भी आदमी डेथ होने के बाद उसके देने के लिए वो डिपॉजिट कर रहा है. हमारा पैसा हमको लास्ट में नहीं दे रहा है. उसके लिए इशू में बहुत कंप्लेंट दे दिया. उसको बराबर नहीं कम्युनिकेट किया. उसको CNDG को एक लेटर भेज दिया. उसको भी मुझको बराबर आंसर नहीं आ गया. उसी के बारे में एक बुक मेरे साथ है. उसके देने के लिए चाहता हूँ.
So if you can just give it to us, and
yes,
our headquarters team is here.
Okay,
so any of the written proposals, if you can please hand over to our headquarters team, which is here.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. The next issue was regarding the state-based recruitment, which we have already discussed earlier. Branch and district level offices, this is for opening up these things. This is a matter of the functional wings at headquarters for opening up branch or district level offices, and we would be examining the feasibility of such a online audits. This request was that reasonable part of audit should be done online, and the point is well appreciated. We would also be taking up the matter with the functional wings at headquarters. These are the specific issues of field duty audit at OIOS. These issues were basically related to the pilot offices of OIOS. I don't think any of them are present here today. The last issue is of the work-life balance in field audit, which also we have spoken about earlier, that while the audit program is being considered, due weightage should be given to people coming back to their home station, to Bangalore, as well as holidays or national cultural festivals which are there, so that they can have an appropriate work-life balance. And I'm sure that the HODs would be taking this into consideration. That was the last issue, ma'am. So, sorry if we rushed through it, but in case anybody has anything last, they can.
Good afternoon, ma'am. We are 19 senior accountants who passed assistant supervisor exam on 2020. Still we did not receive any promotion, but who passed on 2020, they are getting promotion. Criteria for promotion for assistant supervisor, please consider for date of promotion passing exam instead of seniority. That is my humble request on behalf of 19.
Ma'am, we have actually received the written request for considering this. We will just examine it in detail. I think it is also being examined at headquarters just now. But you will have to appreciate that the process will have to be followed. Please. But we are examining it in detail. We have got it also.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Little louder.
Hello. I request for extension of MSCP benefit to the AOs who had refused the AO promotion. Actually, we became eligible for the S11 only after the issuance of CAG order in June 2016. Subsequently, up to 2011 or 2019, there have been so many administrative changes, including merger of AO, SAO cadres, and then in 2020 there was another circular wherein we have stated that the erstwhile services of SO AO also to be considered, and on completion of 20 years of service, the second accreditation could be given. Only the reason for us for not giving that was we had refused the AO promotion. But for senior AOs who had refused I&A promotions, they have been given the benefit of MACP as a one-time measure. So I request the same may be extended to the WOs who have refused the promotion.
Ma'am, this request has been received, and decision was already taken for those, for the senior AOs who had rejected I&As because it was an unforeseen event. Along the same lines, we are examining it, but we will again, within the rules, we will have to just see. It, as far as I understand, it is already there at our office, but if it has not come from your office, please do. Yeah, okay. It has already been forwarded from your office.
Respected officers, I am Shwanku from A&E office. I am requesting a small clarification whether the promotion can be given on the provisional degree certificate, as every university says provisional certificate is valid till the original certificate is issued, and it can be verified for the same. As couple of us are having a provisional degree certificate, so whether the promotion can be given or can be kept pending until the original certificate is issued.
Provisional degree. Okay.
We haven't got this issue before.
We have not, because provisional degree.
I think we'll get it examined.
We'll
Because
get
I
it
think
examined and we'll get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
But have you received this?
I have not.
Can you give us
If you have the specific case, I mean, it
Yeah,
cannot be a
yeah.
general case. Specific case, please do.
No, generally university says that provisional certificate is valid till the original degree certificate is issued.
No, that is, we'll have to look at it in line with our rules. So
until
you
not,
can provide all the details, and we.
Okay, ma'am.
Saying you send a specific case
Hmm.
with a name, no hypothetical questions.
No hypothetical.
Okay, sir.
Ma'am, in our A&D office, welfare officer post is vacant, madam, more than 2 years. We are awaiting for the interview, nothing has come, madam.
Ma'am, we discussed it today.
Why don't you say it?
Yeah.
Madam, I think this is also one of the letters which is pending with us in headquarters. We've just recently sent some information, and we'll pursue. We'll call up and keep pursuing with PDP wing, because that's the wing which is, I think, handling. They have to pursue it with for getting this. Thank you.
Why are the non-guested officials given only 3 upgradations? So when a person has a service, say, for more than 40 years, so a person should get another upgradation also, right? Why is it denied to them? It's only 3 upgradations which are given.
3 MACP scheme is 3 upgradations.
Yes.
So.
But what if a person has service of 40 years and he's got promotion as accountant?
That issue is actually coming up because of our, we are counting the date of recruitment or section officer. Actually, many of our senior AOs will have a long period where they will not get, almost 9 years where they will not get any financial upgradation. But hopefully with the career progression that we are doing to level 12 and 13, they would not require. We cannot change the MACP scheme, but if we have other career progression.
You're talking about senior or cadre. I'm talking about non-guested cadre.
He's asking about accountant.
40 years of service.
For example, if a person is appointed as an accountant and he gets at the age of, say, 21.
21.
And
say 21.
We can't hear you.
Ma'am, I think if there is no specific case, hypothetical.
He will complete only 39 years of service. Those who are appointed and compassionate for the appointment, they will be recruited at the age of 18 to 20 years. In those cases only, they will be completing 40 years. It comes only to those persons, they only will complete 40 years. All others will be recruited.
Yeah, exactly. Only compassion.
That is very. Because 21, otherwise 21 it will.
Can't hear.
No, at that time, that post is also not in existence now.
Madam, I have got a specific case. Actually, appointed as clerk in 1988. I was promoted as accountant in 2000, after 12 years. So at that time, my MACP was I had given. So after that MACP only, that clerk promotion was given. And then I got senior accountant in 2006. 2016, I got another MACP. Then 2020, I wrote my assistant supervisor examination. So in that also, we have not got any benefit. I am retiring by next year. So no benefit of passing this examination, and also 4/6 only, grade pay 4/6 only I am saying.
I have...
It's a promotion, actually assistant supervisors in promotion
see,
so if any promotion is there, actually grade pay also will be changed, no? So still I am in 4/6 only.
That is because you got your MACP right before your assistant supervisor. So normally the rules are that only notional.
17.2, madam. Any promotion examination, the grade pay will be changed, no, madam. Like, at least one increment should be given to us, madam.
No, for pay fixation, if the financial upgradation under MACP has been given, then you are only placed in the next scale without the benefit. That is.
At least, even the grade pay, if it is not there, at least one increment we should get, no, madam. For passing this.
That is, I mean, it is a proper promotion. So promotion involves, I mean, that the pay fixation is different for that. But why don't you give your specific case details? Yes, perhaps there may be some possibility, but we will have to look at it. As far as I understand, if you have already got the benefit of financial upgradation under this MACP, with the next promotion, if you are already in the same scale, you will only be placed at the next higher. I'll just check your details.
Yes, thank you.
Respected ma'am. Ma'am, while granting NFU to AAOs after serving for 4 years, the services rendered as AAO RT has not been factored in, ma'am. And actually, services as RT, they are regularized in the cadre, but they are denied of this benefit, ma'am.
We are looking at the issue of RT services on deputation while granting NFU, and there is a clarification which we have issued for the RT, yes, the regular service and how it is. When we have looked into the specific cases, so for instance, somebody may have been on deputation to an RT post, for instance, in an RTI. So that is not eligible. In your case...
In our case, it is actually after... we became AAO ad hoc, we were regularized. As, I mean to say, because we didn't have enough, posts available under regular intervening, we were regularized and kept as RT posts, ma'am.
If you can provide us the details, and if it has been forwarded, I'm not aware.
Madam, our association will take up in the afternoon meeting, madam.
Sorry?
Our association will take up in the afternoon meeting, madam.
If it is an individual grievance,
individual also, ma'am.
Even if there is a bunch of proposals, it would be helpful if your administration can send it to us. We can look at the details. Even if your association is taking it up, we would at least need the details, because we cannot give a reply without any details.
No, my contention is actually when we are already regularized in the cadre, the services ought to be counted. This is my humble request. That's all, ma'am.
No, that is not an issue. But like I said, when we actually look at the case details, so for instance, we had similar requests, but we found that the person had gone on an analogous post on deputation, which he was calling as regular service. So we have to have the case details. I was just explaining that.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
May I just take one minute? I think it's been a very enlightening session for us, because there were definitely concerns and issues which had not been flagged to us earlier. And we will definitely be addressing them. As regards working conditions, that is something which is of primary concern, and the records issue. Somebody from the state wing in headquarters will come in the month of June. Okay, let me just get back and see what are the schedules that are ready. But let me assure you, somebody will visit and get a feedback, and whenever it's possible, somebody, a more senior officer will also come. We'll try our best to do that within the month of June. There are certain issues relating to the commercial cadre, which, as I've said, is not something which we can make a statement on. But we will communicate your concerns. And what is this ad hoc promotion of as senior AOs and the entrustment of charge? I think we've said that before. Just having the faces in front of us makes an impact on us. So we will definitely go back and see what best we can do. The entrustment part, Prachi assures, is something that can be done very quickly. The other part of it, we will do our best, and I can just tell you that your ADI has actually been really, really fighting for this. And between the two of them, they worked out, they thought of and then worked out this scheme of ad hoc senior AOs. So rest assured, the concern is there and the need to find a solution is also there. And that goes for, for every issue that has been raised. I may not have listed them at this point. Every one of them will be assessed seriously, examined if necessary afresh, and whatever is possible within the contours of guidelines and rules, we will do the best for everybody. I also want to assure you that this is not a one-off exercise. At least some part of this team will visit, say, 6 months down the road and have a follow-up session. This is just the first step in an open, frank discussion between all of us. Thank you.
I now invite Yashin sir to give the vote of thanks.
Last 2 days, we are sitting here and having discussion on various issues. So for successfully conducting these 2 town hall meetings, because this was the, yesterday was the first meeting and today was the second meeting, and it is happening for the first time in the department. So first and foremost, I would like to thank the host offices, that is Principal AG Audit 1 and Principal AG A&D 2, AG A&D office here to host us here and organize this these town hall meetings for us. It was an initiative from the staff wing, but it has been organized so wonderfully. The response is tremendous. So first and foremost, I would like to thank them. I would also like to thank all the participants of this meeting, because without your participation, it would not have been this successful. So I would like to thank the participants of the meeting. Then of course all the HODs in the Bangalore, they supported us a lot. On the dais itself, Santosh sir is there, Smita ma'am is there, Deepna ma'am is there, and of course all the group officers of theirs, and yesterday also HODs were there. I would like to thank, though they are not here at present, but I would like to thank them for making this a successful event. I would like to also support, I would like to thank all the support staff who is working here for last 2 days. So they are making our lives easy. So I would like to thank them also. And of course, because it was from the staff side, but I would also like to thank respected DA ma'am, who sat here for 2 days with us, and she was an inspiration. She was an inspiration behind this. Respected VDI Subbu sir, he had this idea of town hall meeting, and he really drove it through last 2-3 weeks when the first communication went to the offices. He was then Prachi ma'am, of course. was standing here for 2 hours, and I was saying, ma'am, should I arrange a chair for you? She said, yeah, I'm happy to stand here, no issues. So she has been very supportive to us. And then our headquarters team is also here, who was working, because there was a lot of preparation going on before making these presentations and before having the discussions. So there were more than 40 emails, and literally hundreds of suggestions were there in the email, if you combine all the emails. So sorting that out, making the presentation, getting the responses of the concerned wings, that was a tedious task which my team in the headquarters could do fast. And that's how we could have a fruitful discussion here with all the issues. So I would like to thank you, each and everybody who was involved in making this event a successful. Thank you so much.
Is there one of your AOs who can carry this back for me? Thank you very much, all of you. Great job. I think the way one had visualized it, you guys have gone way ahead.
I think we should thank you. We have been
One blue color car 7379 ಅಸಲು ಬೈಕ್ ತೆಗಿಬೇಕು ಆಚೆ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು
That's what I'm saying. It is that meeting with the...
This can be here now. This is the most important now.
Yes.
So many issues.
ಸರ್ ಇವಾಗ ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ ಏನು ಸರ್ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಇವನ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ನಾವು ಊಟ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬಟ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದೇ ಕ್ಯಾಂಟೀನ್ ನಾನು ಬರೋದು ಕ್ಯಾಂಟೀನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಂದ್ರೆ ಅವನಾದ್ರೂ
ನೀರು